Chapter 23. Worship. Geezer sure smacked his lips, as if he disdained Lu Cheng's idea. When you can defeat the martial artist you worship, that's the greatest respect you can show them. Worship. Respect. Then defeat him? Hearing Geezer Shi's words, Lu Cheng's heart was set ablaze. It was the flame of ambition, not YY, but ambition. Can I really? The flame made Lu Cheng tremble slightly. He completely forgot about the pride he had after defeating Wu Dong with his wits, adaptability and strength. He changed the topic and said, "Master, do you think we can enter the national final in this martial arts competition?" The National University Martial Arts Competition was divided into 8 divisions. The top 2 of each division would enter the final circle and finish the competition in one place. The division competition was held from November to January, and the national final was held in May. Geezer Shi rolled his eyes and said, "Do you think I'm a god? You want to enter the top 2 after only 1 month of special training? But Lin Ke will join us." Lu Cheng's voice became weaker and weaker. "Master, what do you think our martial arts club is in the division universities? We're better than a lot of newbies. But it's impossible for us to enter the top 4. Maybe we can fight for the top 8. Geezer Shi thought for a while and said, "A professional 9th pin fighter is very impressive for freshmen, but not necessarily for juniors or seniors. Songqing University is not the only school with good seedlings, good foundation and good coaches. Last year, there was at least 1 professional 9th pin fighter in the top 8 of the division. And that was last year. Now a year has passed. Except for those who have graduated and left school, they won't stay still. Maybe they'll relax and regress." Lu Cheng complained silently, but didn't dare to say it out loud. "How many professional 9th pin fighters are there in Shanbei University?" he asked curiously. "They were last year's national champions." Geezer Shi smiled and said, "Why are you asking them? You haven't learned how to walk yet, and you want to run?" Last year, Peng Liyun was of professional 8th pin. With his talent and hard work, he should be able to advance 1 pin in 1 year, before the physical invulnerability. Their martial arts club's president, Su Wanyan, is also of professional 9th pin, but he has some supernatural ability, so he can't be treated as a normal professional 9th pin fighter. A professional 9th pin fighter graduated in his 4th year. But there seems to be another new recruit. This kind of strong martial arts school is much more attractive than Songqing University in this aspect. Just by listening to the introduction, Lu Cheng deeply felt the huge gap between Songqing University and Shanbei University's martial arts level. Even without Peng Liyun, Su Wanyan was very likely to defeat his own martial arts club. Was this the difference between an ordinary strong school and a national champion? Seeing Lu Cheng's solemn expression, Geezer Shi chuckled. "So this year is a training exercise. Next year, when Lin Ke has improved, you've grown up, and the other's martial arts level has improved significantly, we'll have a chance to make it to the national finals. You've also grown up." Lu Cheng was excited and proud. He blurted out, "Master, I didn't expect you to think so highly of me and think so highly of me." He mimicked Crayon Shinchan, scratching his head and smiling foolishly. Geezer Shi said, "I'm just saying. You don't have to take it seriously." Lu Cheng looked up at the sky and pretended not to be embarrassed. Geezer Shi stopped talking about the martial arts club and changed the topic. "After yesterday's fight with Wu Dong, I believe you've learned a lot. And I've seen your practice with Li Mao. You can be considered to be familiar with the moves. From today on, I'll teach you the moves of the body refining stage officially. The previous moves could only be considered as a combination of basic movements and force skills." Lu Cheng restrained his excitement and saluted. "Thank you, master. What's the move?" Geezer Shi coughed and forced himself to hide his playfulness. "The root of my inheritance is the Ice Divine Kung Fu, which is now the unique skill of the Ice sect. But in the body refining stage, you don't have to care too much about the attribute of the Kung Fu. It won't affect your physical invulnerability in the future. Today, I'll teach you the body refining Kung Fu, derived from the unique skill of the Ice sect, 24 Blizzard Strikes." 24 Blizzard Strikes? At this exciting moment, Kai Zhongming's face suddenly flashed in Lu Cheng's mind. If little Ming were here, he would definitely say, 24 blizzard strikes? The first move would be called, I'm your father. This move is known for its ferocity and craziness. But the mind must not follow the craziness. Instead, it must be as calm as water condensing into ice. Together with the explosive power of the lightning and fire stance, it's definitely the best in the body refining stage. Geyser began to explain. Lu Qing listened very carefully. This was the first set of moves he had learned. Time flew. He had just memorized the key points of the 24 blizzard strikes when it was time to train with the other members of the martial arts club. Geyser stood in front of the members of the special training and looked at the remaining 12 members. He said in a low voice, Wu Dong was injured in an accident and can't come to the special training for a while. Next week is the regional competition of the National Martial Arts Club. I'll announce the main force and the substitutes. Li Mao and the others, who had the potential to compete for the main force and the substitute, held their breaths and the atmosphere became tense. Yan Zhika nodded slightly at Wu Dong's unexpected injury and couldn't participate in the special training. Then she smiled at Lu Qing. The main force is Lin Ke, Chen Zhonghua and Sun Jian. Geyser gave the answer that everyone agreed with. Even if Wu Dong was not injured, he was no match for Sun Jian. Chen Zhonghua's hands had recovered after half a month of recuperation. After announcing the main force, Geyser glanced at Chen Zhonghua. You're a senior and will graduate in July next year. You may not have a chance to meet us in the future. You don't need to do your best in this regional competition. But you've been in the martial arts club for more than 3 years and been the club president for almost 2 years. Don't you have any feelings for this club? 4 years have passed. Don't you want to leave something here? Don't you want your junior brothers and sisters to say that Songqing University Martial Arts Club began to return to glory when Chen Zhonghua was the club president? Fame and fortune were hard to escape in life. Chen Zhonghua, who was expressionless, nodded solemnly. Don't worry, Coach Shi. I'll do my best. If I can get into the top 8 in the last year, I won't have wasted these years. Geyser smiled satisfactorily at his good attitude. You'll definitely get into the top 8. He turned to the others and said, the 3 substitutes are Li Mao, Lin Hua and Guqing. In a similar group martial arts competition, each side would have 3 people fight in order. The winner would continue to accept challenges until all 3 people from one side were defeated. Then the competition would be considered over. Since the name list and order of the 3 people to fight were determined by the coach before the competition started, it was very important to determine the opponent's members in order. This was so that the coach could consider the exchange, counterattack, and consumption tactics. In a martial arts competition, not to mention professional fighters with weapons licenses, even in an amateur competition, there was a saying that punches and kicks had no eyes. No matter how good the referees and supervisors were, they couldn't prevent all injuries. So substitutes were necessary. Hearing her name, Guqing was a little surprised. She was stunned for a moment before she cheered and high-fived Yan Zhika beside her, as if she had already won the championship. You're in good shape and have great potential. After 3 weeks of training, even if you can't reach the level of amateur 4th pin, you'll be one of the best in 5th pin. Geyser was never so mean to girls. Wu Dong was injured. Except for Li Mao, Lin Hua and Sun Jian, the other seniors were all of amateur 5th pin. It was natural to choose Guqing. It's a pity that Xiaoming didn't participate in the special training. Lu Qing sighed secretly. As for the rest of you, Yan Zhika and Li Xiaowen, find other girls during the martial arts class and form a cheerleading team. Create a cheering atmosphere in the stands. Lu Cheng and Wu Meng, you guys gather 20 to 30 male members and cooperate with the school security department and the student union to do the security work. Geyser continued to order. Everyone was stunned. After a long time, Chen Zhonghua finally asked, Coach Shi, what's the security work? Geyser laughed and said, you don't know? This year's opening ceremony is in Songqing University. There will be a 1st pin fighter here. You don't have to worry about his safety. All of you together won't be able to defeat one of his hands. Before he finished, most of the special training members were excited. Which mighty pin fighter? Can we all ask for his signature? Geyser coughed and said, We'll know who he is in a few days. The first pin fighter himself doesn't need our protection. He should be protecting us. The specific security work is to cooperate with the school's security department and the student union to block the paparazzi, the fan club, and the fan club. If there's a chance, I'll help you to ask for his signature. Long live Coach Sure. The special training members shouted in unison, as if their tiredness had disappeared. After shouting, they looked at each other and inexplicably felt that they were a team. Even Chen Zhonghua's eyes softened when he looked at Lin Quebec. Geyser sure smiled and stretched out his hand to signal them to calm down. The district competition is around the corner. We still have a lot of things to do. First, we need to collect information. Divide it among yourselves and find out all the information and videos of last year's district competition and national competition. When the draw is over and the opponent is confirmed, the main force and substitutes will immediately watch the corresponding video to understand the enemy. As soon as he finished, Lin K raised his hand and said, Coach Sure, I have all the information. Good, very good. Remember to pass it to me. Geyser sure nodded with satisfaction. This was the first time Lu Qing heard Lin K speak so much since he joined the martial arts club. He couldn't help but want to complain. According to talker Kai Xiaoming, when Songqing University Martial Arts Club participated in the competition in the future, everyone would sympathize with them, because the commentator would say that the main force of Songqing University Martial Arts Club, Lin K, was born deaf and mute, but strong in will. Second, in a week, I'll teach you the first 12 moves of the 24 blizzard strikes of the ice sect. Geyser sure stretched his muscles. Hee, I can learn 24 moves while you can only learn half. This is the difference in treatment. Lu Qing felt a little proud and took the opportunity to review and master the first part. At noon, the sparring session was over. Lu Qing came to Yinjika and Guoqing again, as usual for the past few weeks. I wonder which first pin expert will come this time. Yinjika took the initiative to ask, full of curiosity. Lu Qing chuckled and said, I know. Who is it? Yinjika's dark eyes were shining brightly, making people unconsciously indulge in them. Liang Yifan from Shanghai. Lu Qing didn't keep her in suspense. Liang Yifan? Yinjika's slightly thin face was filled with joy. He's also my idol. Guoqing beside them was also very excited. You have so many idols. Lu Qing teased. Yinjika puffed up her cheeks and said playfully, If it was the Dragon King Cheng, I wanted to break into your security. Would you go easy on me? I've been a traitor for a long time. Lu Qing answered without hesitation. Both of them burst into laughter. After a while, Yinjika sighed and said, I hope Coach Sure can succeed and let us get the autograph. Autograph? Lu Qing repeated silently. Chapter 24. A week later, at 1 o'clock in the morning, near Songqing University Hotel, it was not quiet at night. Lu Qing and Kai Zhongming wore the martial arts club's special training suits and held walkie-talkies, guarding the door. Behind them was the brightly lit lobby. In front of them were the shadows of the security department, the student union, and other members of the martial arts club. The school is so stingy. They only gave us a martial arts suit when they asked us to stay up late as security guards. Kai Zhongming tugged at his white martial arts suit with black edges and complained, If it wasn't for my girlfriend who likes Liang Yifan and wants his autograph, I wouldn't have come. Lu Qing looked at him with hidden bitterness. Talker, that's not what you said. You said we'll be brothers for life. Cheng, who will help you if I don't. Although I'm so active because I want to get Yinjika's autograph. Haha. Kai Zhongming laughed dryly. If it's just an autograph, I can definitely entrust it to you. Didn't Qin Mo say that if you can help him get an autograph, he will provide you with food for a week? If it wasn't for our brotherhood, why would I stay up late to accompany you? Why isn't Liang Yifan here yet? He said his flight is at 12:05. It'll take him more than 40 minutes to get here. Planes are rarely delayed. Lu Qing looked outside and saw people everywhere. Some were squatting, some were walking back and forth, some were holding banners, some were whispering, some were looking excited, and some were holding cameras. Most of them were young people. Kai Zongming looked at the scene and sighed. It's already midnight, but there are still hundreds of fans waiting here. The appeal of a first pin Mighty Ones is really awesome. This is the only place we can see, Lu Qing said with a smile. Lu Qing chuckled. Fortunately, I've pulled some strings with Geezer Sure. Otherwise, how do you think the two of us can stay here? Those guys from the student council and the security department are all jealous. This is a good place to get close to him. Chung, I'll praise you more. Kai Zongming gave him a thumbs up. When we change shifts at dawn, will you still go to practice martial arts? Lu Qing left the house at 5 o'clock every day to train. He could hide it from others, but he couldn't hide it from his roommates. He had already explained to them that he was going to increase the amount of martial arts training. Of course I have to go. I'll go back to sleep after I'm done with the training. Otherwise, I'll slack off if I don't have an excuse for not going. Lu Qing answered calmly. He didn't find it hard or tiring at all. Instead, he took it for granted. While the two of them were talking, there was suddenly a commotion outside. They looked up and saw 3 black cars in the distance. As the vehicle slowly approached, the surrounding sound waves exploded one after another. Many people were shouting themselves hoarse and rhythmically. Liang Yifan! Liang Yifan! Liang Yifan! Hey, hey, hey! Those at the door, hurry up and stop the fans and reporters from coming closer. Lu Qing and Kai Zongming's walkie-talkies buzzed. Both of them were a little shocked by such a scene. After looking at each other, they came back to their senses and quickly rushed out. Together with the other security guards, they came to the side of the car that had just stopped and formed a large circle. According to the practice method, they held hands and blocked the tide of fans and reporters who were trying to fish in troubled waters. The force of the tide was quite fierce. Lu Qing and the others' outer defense line was almost broken through. Fortunately, Kai Zongming's strength of amateur fifth pin was not just for show. Lu Qing's coordination and strength had improved a lot. They barely managed to stop the tide, which attracted the angry stares of the fans. Do you think there will be a group of people on the Shanghai Club or Liang Yifan's BBS live broadcast? A group of people will scold us security guards as boorish hooligans who don't know what's good for them and don't care about our feelings? Under such circumstances, Kai Zongming still couldn't stop his mouth. He found a chance to talk to Lu Qing. Lu Qing nervously stopped him and answered casually, maybe they will frame us for beating people up and bullying people. Even if there is no news, we have to make some news. At this time, the car door was opened. Lu Qing knew from the more intense reaction of the fans that Liang Yifan had appeared. Unfortunately, he couldn't see him because his back was facing him. The tide became more turbulent and the shouts louder. Lu Qing felt that his defense line was about to be broken. At this critical moment, he heard a clear and mellow voice. Everyone, please be quiet. I, Liang Yifan, am flattered to receive such love from all of you. But it's already early in the morning. We can't disturb other people's rest for our own sake. Everyone be quiet. I'll be here with you. In such a noisy and chaotic scene, this voice was no different. It was equally clear to everyone's ears. The noise stopped abruptly. The outside of the hotel returned to silence. The crowd also stopped. Lu Qing and Kai Zongming turned their heads and saw a man of medium height standing on the stairs at the entrance of the hotel. His height was similar to Lu Qing's. He was wearing a simple dark blue martial arts suit. He had a calm temperament and was not an ordinary person. Just by standing there, he had the feeling of the deep sea and the boundless earth. People directly ignored his ordinary appearance. It's really Liang Yifan, Kai Zongming whispered. Liang Yifan was in his 30s. It was the age when men were most mature but not old. Facing the eyes of the fans, he smiled gently and said, it's hard to return the favor. Everyone, please line up and sign. I won't go up until tonight. Of course, don't make a noise. It's not good to disturb others. We are all people with good manners. Hearing this, the fans were inexplicably moved. The girls even covered their mouths with tears, crying and saying that Liang Yifan was so nice. The walkie-talkie of Lu Qing and the others sounded again. You guys maintain order and let them line up quietly. With the change of responsibilities, Lu Cheng and Kai Zongming started to work again. They stopped the people who cut in line and let the fans line up orderly. One by one, they went up to sign. The reporters next to them were flashing their cameras, recording the scene. The night was quiet. Kai Zongming looked at Liang Yifan, who was earnestly signing autographs under the lights. He then looked at the fans and reporters who were seriously waiting in line. Suddenly, he turned to Lu Cheng and said in a low voice, "Cheng." "What?" Lu Cheng asked blankly. Kai Zongming took a deep breath and said in an unprecedentedly serious tone, "I want to join the special training." Lu Cheng looked at him deeply and pursed his lips. He seemed to feel the same way. He didn't say much while maintaining order. Minutes and seconds passed. At 3 o'clock in the morning, there were only a few people left in the line to sign autographs. The crowd around them was reluctant to leave. Seeing that the line was getting shorter and shorter and was about to end, Lu Cheng exhaled and suddenly stepped out of the line. Taking advantage of the geographical advantage, he was at the end of the line in a few steps. There were only 3 fans in front of him. "Hey, who are you? What are you doing? Go back." An angry voice came from the walkie-talkie. Lu Cheng reached out his hand and turned off the walkie-talkie directly. At this moment, he felt that he was very manly. "Can you give me a punishment for this kind of thing? I'll accept it even if you give me a punishment." Kai Zongming's mouth was half open, and he was stunned for a while. Then he suddenly jumped out and lined up behind Lu Cheng. He also turned off the walkie-talkie. "Cheng, I worship you today," he said in a low voice. Lu Cheng was already in front of Liang Yifan. He took out a small, cute notebook that he had prepared in advance and said a little nervously, "Mr. Liang, my friends and I worship you very much. We hope you can sign an autograph." Liang Yifan smiled slightly and said, "Don't worry. You've worked hard all night. I've seen it all. Just take turns to sign autographs." His voice wasn't loud, but it spread all around. The students who acted as security personnel cheered in a low voice. Seeing Liang Yifan turn the pages of the notebook and sign 3 autographs, Lu Cheng was happy and moved. Thank you. Half an hour later, at the entrance of the hotel. Fortunately, nothing happened this time. If you did something wrong, I'd like to see how you explain it to me. At that time, I can even expel you. The deputy director of the security department roared in front of Lu Cheng and Kai Zongming, carrying out the fiercest reprimand. After a while, he said reluctantly, "I'll talk to your dean. Whether you'll be punished or not depends on your attitude when the time comes." "Teacher, you're right. It's all our fault. We were too young and impulsive." Kai Zongming was always flexible. Lu Cheng also followed suit. After all, he had already gotten the autograph. When the matter was dealt with in their own school, there was a lot of room for negotiation. It was a good tradition of every group to protect their own. After sending the deputy director away, Lu Cheng exhaled and said, "You're really good. No wonder you used to be a master of professional 7th pen. After working in the office for so many years, you almost made me lose my concealment of spirit and chi. You were still stance just now." Kai Zongming glanced sideways at Lu Cheng. "Yeah. Otherwise, it would be so boring," Lu Cheng said matter-of-factly. At this time, it was close to 5 o'clock. The crowd had dispersed. The hotel was unusually quiet. The autumn wind rustled their clothes. Kai Zongming and Lu Cheng subconsciously fell into silence. Looking at the lights in the hotel lobby and feeling the autumn chill outside, Lu Cheng suddenly said, "Talker, do you really want to join the special training of the martial arts club? Aren't you afraid that you won't have time to accompany your girlfriend? Aren't you afraid that you won't have time to sleep in and play games?" Kai Zongming exhaled a breath of hot air and said, "My girlfriend has always been a straight-A student. I'll encourage her to choose a second major. Also, I'll save the time to video chat with her. Hee. I plan to fly to the capital during Christmas and New Year's Day and date for a few days. Now I need to save money." He came from a well-off family. His monthly allowance was more than twice that of Lu Cheng's, a total of 3,000 yuan. However, he was also a spendthrift. He never had any leftovers. As for the problem of school attendance, with the help of his roommates, he would only miss 3 or 4 classes at most after holidays and weekends. Without waiting for Lu Cheng to speak, he continued, "I've thought it through. After graduating from college, we will enter society. We won't have the free time, energy, impulse, and passion like now. I've always liked martial arts. Although I'm lazy, I still often fantasize about it. What's the difference between a man and a salted fish if he doesn't have dreams? I don't want to spend my 4 years in college with nothing but games as memories after classes and exams. My talent is not bad. I'm now of amateur fifth pin. When the time comes, there's still hope for me to enter the professional martial arts circle. Anyway, I'll give it a try. Who knows? Just like how you chase your goddess. Who knows, maybe you'll hit the jackpot. Lu Cheng rolled his eyes at him and said, "You're just expressing your feelings. Why are you insulting me?" "I'm used to it." Kai Zhongming laughed. The two looked at each other and smiled. Suddenly, they had a tacit understanding and said the same line at the same time. Life is short. Why not give it a try? Chapter 25. The next night, Songqing University Martial Arts Gym was brightly lit and crowded. The New Year's National University Martial Arts Competition was about to begin. Lu Cheng waited for Yenjika outside the women's locker room. He handed the cute notebook to her with a smile. Liang Yifun's signature. I tore it off myself as a souvenir. Yenjika opened her eyes wide in surprise and joy. She turned to the 2 pages of the signature and confirmed the authenticity. You really got it. Really thank you so much." Lu Cheng calmed down and smiled gently. "Why are you thanking me? Didn't you give me a bottle of medicine before?" Returning the favor was an excuse to avoid awkwardness between both sides. "You're right." Yenjika nodded slightly and said thoughtfully, "I wanted to treat you to a meal. Since you said so, thank you." "Ah, treat me to a meal? Is this a private date? I missed it so perfectly." Lu Cheng opened his mouth slightly and almost showed a sluggish expression. He regretted it so much that he almost slapped himself. "Who told you to talk too much? Who told you to explain first? Actually, I don't mind if you treat me to a meal," he forced himself to say. Yenjika curved her eyes and smiled slyly. "Don't you have the ointment? Why treat me to a meal?" Before Lu Cheng answered, she smiled brightly with her bright dimples. "Since you missed the chance, you can only wait for the next time." "Next time I'll pick an expensive one," Lu Cheng joked to ease his regret. "Expensive one? Then I won't treat you," Yenjika dragged her tone. "I'm wrong. If Yenjika treats me to a meal, I'll wolf down the food at the roadside stall." Lu Cheng put his hands together and replied jokingly. Yenjika tilted her head slightly and said with a smile, "Wolf down the food? You can eat so much? Then I won't treat you. Look at my sincere eyes." Lu Cheng felt that he needed an expression package urgently. "By the way, why do you have such a girly notebook?" Yenjika smiled and changed the topic. "I bought it specially. A rough man like me never uses a notebook." Lu Cheng made a self-deprecating remark. "Oh." Yenjika smiled and was about to say something else when Guiqing waved at her from not far away. "Cheng, I have to go now. I still have something to do." Yenjika pointed at Guiqing. As cheerleaders, they had to try to stir up the mood of the audience tonight and create a warm atmosphere. That was to take the lead in clapping and shouting. After all, it was a live broadcast. It was best not to have an awkward silence. Lu Cheng waved and watched her leave. Kai Zhongming, who had been waiting nearby, leaned over and said seriously, "Cheng, do you know how I felt when I heard your conversation?" "What?" Lu Cheng was prepared to be insulted. "Hold it in, can't laugh. Can't hold it in, ha 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 ha." Kai Zhongming laughed loudly. "You talk too much. Who asked you to find excuses? That's why you didn't consult me first. You don't have a chance to go on a date, right? Do you regret it now? You must be grieving, right?" Lu Cheng glanced at him. "Little Ming, come here." "What?" Kai Zhongming replied warily. "Let me strangle you," Lu Cheng said fiercely. "We should go and maintain order." Today's venue also needed to maintain order. The two wore Songqing University martial arts suits and were arranged near the guest area. Dozens of universities participating in the district competition had sent instructors or vice principals. The top 2 martial arts clubs from last year's district competition Shanbei University Martial Arts Club and Sanjiang College Martial Arts Club were invited to participate in the national finals. All the main and substitute members were invited to participate. Shanbei University Martial Arts Club, as last year's overall champion, would go on stage to draw lots for the other schools later. Yenjika walked to Guiqing. She didn't mention the notebook and Liang Yifan's signature. Instead, she talked about how to stir up the atmosphere of the stands tonight. During the conversation, when they talked about Liang Yifan's participation in the draw, Guiqing seemed to think of something and said, "Cuckoo, I heard that Chung was really awesome last night. What happened to him?" Yenjika asked curiously. He came out of the security team and asked for Liang Yifan's signature in front of the deputy director of the security department. The deputy director yelled at him through the walkie-talkie and asked him to go back. He turned off the walkie-talkie directly. He was so awesome that he wasn't afraid of being punished. Guiqing gossiped. Fortunately, Liang Yifan didn't mind. After that, the deputy director only scolded him. Hearing Guiqing's story, Yenjika bit her lower lip with her pearly white teeth. Her eyes became gentle, and the corners of her mouth lifted slightly. Her right hand gently stroked the cover of the notebook. A young man in a tuxedo with a black bow tie stood in the aisle of the guest area. He looked at the male locker room of Songqing University Martial Arts Club and chuckled to his companions beside him. Lin Kei joined Songqing University this year. We can't underestimate him. If we have time, we should watch their matches. President Lin Kei is nothing. Why should we pay attention to him? A tall young man with a somewhat childish face said with a flattering smile. In ancient times, you could be an immortal. Not at all. That's because the ancient people were too inexperienced. The man in the tuxedo smiled complacently. His feet left the ground and floated up 10 centimeters. He floated up and floated to the back row of the guest area along the aisle. The guest area was higher than the one before. The man in the tuxedo had just floated past a few rows when he suddenly heard a familiar voice. "Chu Hui, you're still so showy." The man in the tuxedo turned his head and saw a young man in a white martial arts suit standing at the edge of the row, looking at him with his arms crossed. He was about 1.8 meters tall, with messy eyebrows and heavy dark circles under his eyes. He looked tired, as if he often stayed up late. "Hey, Su Wanyan, you haven't changed either. You're still a gangster." Chu Hui sneered. "No matter how showy I am, I won't be defeated by a new member of the club." Su Wanyan, the president of Shanbei University Martial Arts Club, smiled slightly. "You don't have to provoke me. I'm sincerely convinced by junior brother Peng. I won't nag you anymore. Watch your step. Don't fall." Watching him take his seat, Chu Hui floated to the back row and asked in confusion, "Did he eat something wrong? Did Su Wanyan eat the wrong medicine? Why is he so easy to talk to? He must have taken the wrong medicine. Otherwise, why would he curse you to fall and ask you to watch your step? You're floating in the air. Why would you care about that?" The tall young man with the childish face laughed. "Yeah, among all the people here, you're the least likely one to fall." The other members of the martial arts club of Sanjiang College echoed. Chu Hui also found it funny. He couldn't help but look back at Su Wanyan. What does he mean by that? Bang! As soon as Chu Hui finished speaking and turned around, he bumped head-on into a pillar that supported the dome. His nose was sore from the collision, and tears flowed down his cheeks. He forgot to maintain his superpower and fell backward. His companions hurriedly caught him. "What the F***ck is this building? A pillar in the middle of the road." The childish young man scolded and blamed the pillar. At this time, they were approaching the last row. Chu Hui floated up again. His tuxedo was not messy at all. He looked at Su Wanyan seriously. "I really fell. How could they not notice such a huge pillar standing right in front of them?" In the row of Shanbei University, Su Wanyan saw Chu Hui fall down. He smiled and said to the other members, "Did you see that? Senior brother Su, is this your supernatural ability?" The members of the martial arts club asked at once. A handsome young man with freckles pursed his lips thoughtfully. Su Wanyan said proudly, "Yes, I didn't realize it before. I thought I was simply a jinx." Fortunately, junior brother Peng noticed this, and found someone to help me discover the supernatural ability of this jinx. While speaking, he patted the shoulder of the young man next to him. Ah! The young man turned around with a blank face. Everyone was talking excitedly, but he still looked like he was daydreaming. Nothing, junior brother Peng. You can continue to think about your physics problems and life problems. Su Wanyan laughed and patted Peng Liyun's shoulder again. Peng Liyun had light fluff above his mouth. His skin was as smooth as a girl's. He didn't look outstanding, but he looked very clean. Hearing this, he didn't ask any more. Instead, he turned around and continued to think about life. Senior brother Su, to what extent can your supernatural ability reach? The young man with freckles asked. Su Wanyan smiled and answered. Now it can only slightly interfere with the opponent. If it goes beyond that, the opponent will have a terrible headache and no effect. He wanted to show off, so he pointed at the two people below and said, I'll show you again. Lu Cheng and Kai Zongming followed the instructions from the walkie-talkie to the designated maintenance spot. After climbing a few steps, they heard a voice. Hey, you there. Lu Cheng turned around and saw a group of young men and women in Shanbei University martial arts suits. He was puzzled. Why do you call me? Is Peng Liyun here? Su Wanyan smiled and said, It's a little slippery in front. Someone fell down just now. You have to watch your step. Don't fall down too. Oh, thank you, Lu Cheng said gratefully. Suddenly, the Jindan in his lower abdomen jumped. The nebula suddenly expanded and contracted rapidly. Lu Cheng was stunned. His Jindan had returned to its original state, and nothing happened. What happened? He frowned and walked up with Kai Zongming in confusion. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. They stood near the last row, overlooking the whole stadium. Why didn't it work? The members of the Shanbei University Martial Arts Club, who were waiting for a good show, were stunned. He was safe and sound. Su Wanyan was also surprised. He stood up and walked into the aisle. He looked carefully, but Lu Cheng was still alive and kicking. He was still smiling. What's wrong? Su Wanyan turned around in confusion. Just then he slipped. He didn't have time to adjust his center of gravity, and was about to roll all the way to the bottom. A hand reached over and held him firmly, preventing him from falling. There will be a corresponding backlash if the spirit of speech fails. Peng Liyun, who had been in a trance, suddenly woke up and said with deep eyes, Junior brother Peng, what happened just now? Su Wanyan stood up and asked in surprise, Why did I fail? Peng Liyun shook his head, indicating that he didn't know either. Then he looked back and whispered to himself, I smell the starry sky. His eyes were empty again. Chapter 26. The opening ceremony of the National University Martial Arts Competition started on time, while Su Wanyan was still in shock. First, the symphony orchestra of Songqing University played, followed by the lively dance group. I can take a nap after the dance. Kai Zongming yawned, as if he was very experienced. Lu Cheng also pretended to be scared. During the opening ceremony, the principal talked nonsense for 1.5 hours. If he does that again today, will he be beaten? I don't know if he'll beat me up, but he's not the only one with a lot of nonsense today. I watched the video of last year's opening ceremony a few days ago, and I still remember the long speech of the president of the Martial Arts Federation. It almost hypnotized me. Kai Zongming looked like he was going to sacrifice himself for justice. In the front row of the guest seats, where the Shanbei University Martial Arts Club was, Su Wanyan listened to the speech of the principal of Songqing University. His eyes showed obvious tiredness, but he didn't dare to sleep because there was a live TV broadcast today. He's too talkative. The corner of the mouth of the handsome young man with freckles beside him twitched. Senior brother Su, can you jinx that old man and make him forget his lines, throw away his manuscripts, or have high blood pressure or something? Su Wanyan was silent for a moment inside. I want to, but it's too damn far away. As he spoke, he looked at Peng Liyun beside him. At times like this, I envy and worship junior brother Peng the most. Regardless of whether or not there are people around him talking, he can still think about life and let his mind wander. I suspect that he actually has the ability to sleep with his eyes open. I also envy brother Liyun. He can daydream while talking. Another member of the martial arts club echoed. Keep your voices down. The instructor of the Shanbei University Martial Arts Club, sitting in the front row, turned around and said. He was middle-aged, white-haired, deep-set, old-fashioned, and had a good reputation in the martial arts club. Everyone immediately fell silent. Half an hour later, Kai Zongming's eyes were glazed over, and he was about to fall asleep. Chung, let's talk. Otherwise I'll fall asleep standing up and roll down the stairs. Then I'll become the laughing stock of the whole country. I think the principal is almost done. There are so many guests today, and everyone has to say a few words. If he takes too much time, the opening ceremony will continue until dawn. Lu Qing comforted himself. The atmosphere created by the dance and music had dropped to the freezing point. As soon as Lu Qing finished his speech, it seemed that there was indeed a time limit to his speech. The principal stopped abruptly and bowed to the end of the speech. He stepped down from the stage with a look of dissatisfaction. Pa! Pa! Sincere and warm applause rang out in the stadium, almost overturning the roof. Lu Qing and Kai Zongming also applauded hard, feeling as if they had escaped a great disaster. Thank you, Mr. Principal, for sparing our lives. Next, let's welcome the president of the National University Martial Arts Federation, Mr. Fang Jingjue, to give a speech. The host invited the next guest. Kai Zongming opened his mouth slightly. Chung, let's talk. Lu Qing stared ahead at the cameras in various positions and muttered to himself. What should we talk about? Do you know that there's a special competition system in the martial arts competition? Kai Zongming started to chat wholeheartedly. I didn't crawl out of a grave. How could I not know? Under normal circumstances, each side will send out 3 fighters, and they will fight one by one. The winner will stay, and the loser will leave. The side that loses all 3 fighters will lose. But sometimes they can apply for a special competition format in advance. All 3 fighters will fight at the same time, so that they can take advantage of certain martial arts combinations. Listening to President Fang Jinjue's endless speech, Lu Qing casually mentioned the special competition format. Kai Zongming smiled. Then do you know the story of the special competition system? What story? Lu Qing was suddenly interested. Kai Zongming smiled. It's said that when the professional martial arts competition was first established, the Xuanwu sect went to the then leader of the Wulin League, Old Master Lin Zhongxuan, who was a warrior sage, king, and other titles. He said that the competition system was unfair. Our sect was founded on sword formations, and was good at triple light sword formation. Isn't it unfair to fight one-on-one with one's weakness? Well, that's right. Some sects are good at formations instead of fighting one-on-one. The normal competition system is indeed unfair to them. Lu Qing agreed. Kai Zongming chuckled. Old Master Lin thought so too, so he set up a special competition format. As long as you apply in advance, you can let 3 disciples go on the field at the same time, and set up a sword formation. The opponents can either team up with 3 people, and use the formation to break the formation, or let the 3 martial artists on the substitutes bench go up together, and use numbers against the sword formation. It's quite fair. Why is it funny that the sect that is not good at formations has the advantage of numbers? Lu Qing glanced at Kai Zongming in confusion. Why are you laughing? Kai Zongming held back his laughter and said. After hearing this, the head of Kongtong School couldn't sit still. He also went to Old Master Lin, and said that we can't be biased. Kongtong School is good at 5 elements of 5 directions. 3 disciples can't set it up at all. That's true. Lu Qing hesitated. Kai Zongming continued. When Kongtong School said so, Shangqing sect also couldn't accept it. Why should they suffer? Senior Lin, you have to consider our Big Dipper sword formation. Don't you think it's very difficult for Old Master Lin? It's very difficult. We have to come up with a good and comprehensive competition system. Lu Qing frowned. At this time, the abbot of Daxing Temple also came in, and looked at Old Master Lin eagerly. Donor Lin, this the 500 Arhat formation. Kai Zongming clapped his hands. Well, Old Master Lin said at that time, all of you get out of here. Lu Qing also couldn't help but laugh. Sure enough, There's no such thing as taking care of everything in the world. The two talked in low voices without looking sideways. The smiles on their faces seemed to appear because of the speeches. While talking and laughing, they finally finished one guest after another and watched the interspersed singing and dancing. It was time for Silent Night Light, Liang Yifan, to come on stage. There was no need for Yin Zhika and the others to take the lead in cheering and applauding. The whole martial arts arena seemed to be exploded by the sound waves. This was not only because of Liang Yifan's personal charm, but also because of the efforts of the guests in front of him. I'm not very good with words. Since everyone is anxious to see the result of the draw, I just want to say one thing. I hope the National University Martial Arts Competition will be better and better. Let martial arts be more deeply rooted in people's hearts, and give the young people who didn't have the opportunity to practice martial arts at a young age a chance to improve themselves. Liang Yifan said concisely with an I understand expression. Good. Kai Zhongming, Su Wanyan and the others took the lead in applauding and smiling. The enthusiasm of the atmosphere was enough to show people's hearts. The projection was turned on, and a screen appeared behind Liang Yifan. On it was the table of the division competition, but the two sides were still blank. According to the competition system, there would be 4 groups in the division. The top 4 teams of last year's division would directly enter the group competition as the seeded teams. The rest of the schools would enter the corresponding group after 2 or 3 rounds of single elimination. The one who was drawn to the left side during the draw would have the home advantage. The group competition was a single-cycle format. The home advantage would be determined based on the results of last year. The top 2 teams would enter the quarterfinals, and the top 2 would represent their division in the national finals. At this time, the MC and the host put 2 boxes, one big and one small, on the table in front of Liang Yifan, and asked him to draw the seeded teams of each group from the small boxes. Group A. Liang Yifan put his hand into the box and took out a piece of paper. He opened it and said loudly, Shannon University Martial Arts Club. This was the 3rd team of last year. Group B. Shanbei University Martial Arts Club. As soon as Liang Yifan finished speaking, the coaches in the hall looked at each other. This group could only compete for the 2nd place. Group C. Sanjiang College. Group D. Haiyuan College. After drawing the seeded teams of each group, Liang Yifan bowed and left the stage. The other guests would draw the teams of each group for the elimination competition. Lu Cheng was a little worried. He was a little concerned about the honor of the martial arts club. He was a little disappointed that the Songqing University Martial Arts Club was not among the teams of Group A for the elimination competition. Compared to Shanbei and Sanjiang, the other 2 martial arts clubs were not so scary. Group B, the 3rd round of the elimination competition. The home team. The guest drew a piece of paper. Songqing University Martial Arts Club. Damn, it's the most difficult group. Lu Cheng was a little depressed. It's okay. Maybe the other opponents are weak. We have a high chance of winning the 2nd place. Kai Zhongming was optimistic. Next, the guest drew the opponent of Songqing University, Neihai Normal School. Not bad. Lu Cheng was relieved to see that it was a recognized weak team. The opponents of the 2nd round of the elimination competition would be Qinyang and the other 2 schools that were not so strong. They had a high chance of entering the group stage. After drawing the lots, it was already late at night. After returning to the dormitory, they had no energy to pay attention to the news and fell asleep one after another. At noon the next day, after returning to the dormitory, Lu Cheng finally had time to browse the forums and websites for news related to the opening ceremony of the National University Martial Arts Club. Because of Liang Yifan's attendance, everyone was quite concerned about it. In the forum of Longhu Club, he found related posts at the bottom of the homepage. There were video news and a special topic by Songqing TV station. Special topic? Lu Cheng didn't have time to read the comments below. He first skimmed through the news video to make sure that he wasn't talking and laughing with Kai Zhongming. Only then did he feel relieved. But when he clicked on the Songqing TV station's feature program, what appeared before him was his own face. I'm very excited, very excited. Well, I'm proud of you. With a silly smile on his face, he said silly words. Well, this was the interview he accepted as a bystander outside the martial arts club during the welcome ceremony. Lu Cheng recalled the past and quickly opened the door of the small dormitory, shouting to the other side, "Talker! Little Ming! Come and see, we're on TV." After the interview, the two of them were looking forward to appearing on TV. From time to time, they would watch the news of Songqing TV station. But they didn't see it and gradually forgot about it. Unexpectedly, this interview was part of the special topic and would be edited and broadcasted during the opening ceremony of the martial arts club. Really, Kai Zongming ran over and signaled Lu Cheng to pull him back. "Hey, not bad. My smile is so handsome, unlike someone who looks silly and silly. Look at the comments. Is there anyone praising me?" Chapter 27. To be honest, Lu Cheng would be embarrassed to see a familiar netizen commenting on him from a stranger's point of view. He didn't know how to face them in the future. For a moment, he didn't want to read the comments. It was better to be an ostrich with its head buried in the sand. But he couldn't resist Kai Xiaoming's enthusiasm and constant urging, so he had to continue reading. Apart from the first few comments, the martial arts fanatic Unparalleled Dragon King was the first to reply. "Lin K seems to be okay, but it's hard for him to achieve anything." Who asked him to meet the strongest martial artists in the past 10 years. Peng Liyun from Shanbei, Ren Li from the capital, and Chaoyang from Huahai, Zhen Huanqing from Guangnan. They are all famous martial artists. The first two are the direct disciples of their respective sects, while the latter two are reserved by Xinghai. Even if we don't mention other famous martial artists, among this year's freshmen, Li Xiaoyuan from Guangnan and Fang Zhirong from Shanbei are slightly better than Lin Quebec. Damn! Who is this? He knows so much about the university martial arts competition? Kai Zongming was shocked when he saw the reply of Unparalleled Dragon King. Lu Cheng was also full of admiration. He's a martial arts fanatic. It's always right to ask him about martial arts. It's said that he's a rich second generation who came back from studying abroad and has been staying at home all the time. A plumber eating mushrooms also replied, "Peng Liyun and Ren Li are freshmen last year. Before they graduate, other schools have no hope." Why? Brahman sent a blank emoji. She was the favorite of the forum. She just graduated from primary school last year and was very childish. A plumber eating mushrooms replied, "Hey, you're not retiring this year? Think about it. When Peng Liyun and Ren Li entered school last year, and several years ago, a professional 8th pin danqi stage fighter was enough to compete for the national championship. But it's definitely impossible today, because they have passed the ranking event in October, and are both of professional 7th pin. With their talent and hard work, they will improve every year. How can the latecomers catch up with them? Can't someone enter danqi in 1 year and surpass them in 2 years? Brahman refused to admit defeat. Invincible Punch lamented, "I failed again in the ranking event. Look at Peng Liyun, look at Lin K and the rest. I really want to die. Some people exist to make you meaningless." After reading many comments, Lu Cheng and Kai Zongming looked at each other and sighed at the same time. Lin K is famous now. After this live broadcast and special program, he was considered to be a little famous in the country. Looking at the comments again, the veteran, "Don't be a hooligan," said, "Am I the only one who thinks that the reporter in the feature show is pretty?" Okamoto's fan also replied, "At least 9 points. Sis, I think." Above the Sky, whose avatar was a rock girl, imitated their tone and replied, "Am I the only one who thinks that the passerby in the interview is not bad?" Phew, Kai Zongming exhaled. A fine steed is not common, and Bolo is not common either. Fortunately, there is a normal girl. Wonton Seller replied uncertainly, "Which passerby are you referring to?" "The one with the silly face who said something about being honored. He's quite cute." Above the Sky replied quickly, "Deformed aesthetic standards." Kai Zongming cursed hatefully when he saw the content. Lu Cheng smiled proudly at the side and found that the awkwardness he expected didn't happen. It was quite interesting to see familiar netizens commenting on him without knowing his true identity. "Talker, I'm sorry for your loss." He patted Kai Zongming on the shoulder. "I don't believe this." Kai Zongming grabbed the mouse from Lu Cheng and started to scroll by himself. After 2 pages, he finally saw a reply from Beautiful World. "The passerby is very handsome. The one beside the silly face. Songqing University's quality is really good. Even a random interview with a handsome guy. She was a famous girl on the forum, and a student of a famous school in the capital." There were many replies, both male and female, and they all agreed that Songqing University's quality was good. "I'm so moved." Kai Zongming put down the mouse and wiped his tears. Lu Qing was playing QQ and sent the link to the special interview to Yenjika. "If I knew it would be broadcasted, I would have been more serious." After sending the message, he turned to Kai Zongming. "Talker, you said you wanted to join the special training. Do you still want to? When do you want to join?" "I'll tell Coach Sure." "I've already said that, and you still doubt my sincerity? Look at my eyes." Kai Zongming replied exaggeratedly. "But I can't join this year. My girlfriend can't make a second major in time. I'll join the special training at the beginning of the next semester." Lu Qing dragged his voice and said, "Tomorrow comes again." "Really?" Kai Zongming said without hesitation. "I'm mainly preparing for the date in the capital. I need to save money." While speaking, he ran back to his small dormitory and took a can of something. Lu Qing took a closer look and sucked in a cold breath. "Godmother, is little Ming saving money for a date?" Kai Zongming said generously. "How can I not have money for a date? I'm going to save all my living expenses for the next 2 months. Plus my private money, it should be enough." "All your living expenses?" Lu Qing was shocked. "Well, my phone bill is enough to last for 3 months. I've quit smoking, drinking, socializing, drinking, gaming, online shopping, and eating extravagant meals. Every day, I'll just eat 2 steamed buns in the morning and 5 cents for lunch and dinner. I'll eat them with Laogan Ma. On the weekends, I'll squeeze out 20 RMB to eat some stir-fried dishes. I've calculated, including the cost of hot water and internet, it's less than 200 renminbi a month. I still have 2,800 renminbi left. In 2 months, I'll have 5,600 renminbi." Kai Zongming thought about the process of saving money. Lu Qing shuddered as he listened to his description. Godmother with plain white rice every day. Will he vomit? Little Ming is really working hard to go to the capital to have fun with his girlfriend. With this kind of perseverance and patience, what can't he do? Sigh, I think I can eat anything when I'm hungry. Kai Zongming took a deep breath and was full of fearless spirit. He gave the extra autograph to Qin Mo. But since they were roommates, he was too embarrassed to ask him to cover his meals for a week. He just asked him to treat his roommates to a barbecue in 2 days. Lu Qing gave him a thumbs up. "I almost wanted to lend you money after hearing your miserable story. But on second thought, how can I lend you money without money?" Ever since he started his martial arts training, his appetite had increased tremendously. Yizershur had also specially instructed him on how to match his diet. Even though it was not as particular as the nutritionists in foreign countries, there were still basic requirements. Since then, his monthly food expenses had skyrocketed and doubled to 1,200 renminbi. On the other hand, his monthly living expenses were only 1,300 renminbi. If it were not for the cheap cafeteria, he would not have been able to afford to practice martial arts at all. This did not even include the tuition fees that normal people had to pay to practice martial arts. Fortunately, when he first entered the school, his parents were worried that he would have all kinds of miscellaneous expenses, so they gave him an extra 2,000 yuan as backup. In the end, he was left with 1,000 yuan. Last month, his mother gave him another 800 yuan, so he could afford to go out for social gatherings. Moreover, before he had some gains and results in his martial arts training, he did not want to ask for money from his family, because he always felt that he was not doing his job properly. Kai Zongming shook his head and laughed. "I don't like to borrow money from others. I will save what I can, unless I'm really at the end of the line. But if I'm really at the end of the line, do you think I won't ask for money from my family? Who's the 2 of us? said Lu Cheng. Thinking of himself, he said enviously, I don't know when I can ask Yinjika out alone. Excluding the money for meals, he still had 700 yuan left. With the money he had saved up, it was enough for a few dates. But after that, how could he ask for more living expenses from his parents? It was so sad to be a poor student with no other source of income. Let's not talk about whether your relationship is good enough, and whether you have a chance. Just based on the recent arrangements, you have no hope in a short time. Kai Zhongming laughed. You have special training every day and martial arts competitions on weekends. You need all kinds of help. How can you have time for dates? Wait until mid-December, when the group competition ends. If we don't qualify, you will have more time. At that time, there will be an amateur ranking event at the end of December. It's a good excuse for dates. Save your money. Bear with it, don't waste this 700 yuan. Lu Qing nodded hard. Alas, I'm so busy that I don't even have a chance to do part-time work. After chatting with Kai Zhongming, he saw Yinjika's reply. She also said that he smiled foolishly during the interview. If it was made into an emoji pack, it would be a black mark for life. With a silly smile on his face, Lu Qing held his phone and began to chat with her eagerly. At the end of November, it was already winter. The cold wind hit, but the Songqing University Martial Arts Club Stadium was overflowing with waves of heat and waves of cheers. This was the first match of the group competition of the National University Martial Arts Competitions, as well as the most important one for Songqing University Martial Arts Club. In the previous knockout round, Lin Ke had shown his invincible strength and defeated the Inland Sea Normal University. In the duel with Qinyang University, he had also won 2 rounds in a row and knocked the 2 strongest opponents out of the ring. He had only given up the 3rd round because he had used up too much of his strength. After that, except for the unexpected injury of Sun Jian, the second fighter, Songqing University Martial Arts Club had smoothly entered the group stage. Lin Ke's performance had raised the expectations of all the teachers and students in the school. After a long time, the martial arts hall was once again filled with spectators. In the group, besides Songqing University, there were also Shanbei University, Guanan School, and Luqing University of Science and Technology. Shanbei University was the champion last year. This year, their main force was still there, so Songqing University could not challenge them. Luqing University of Science and Technology was not strong enough to enter the group competition. Therefore, for Songqing University, Guanan School, which was at the same level as them, was a stumbling block for them to enter the top 8. The first match of the group competition, Songqing University versus Guanan School. Guanan is actually a little stronger than us, but he was defeated by the rising Sanjiang College in the first round of the knockout round last year. His score is not as good as ours, so we have the home field advantage, so we're on par with him. Geezer sure wore a black old man's hat and was explaining the situation of Guanan School Martial Arts Club to the main force and substitutes. The women's locker room was given to Guanan. Lin Hua and Guiqing were also in the men's locker room. After all, there was a separate bathroom. Lu Cheng, who was in charge of logistics, listened to Geezer Sher's introduction with curiosity. Waves of shouts came from outside the door. Songqing University! Songqing University! Chapter 28. Songqing University! Songqing University! The shouts were deafening like a tsunami, brimming with the surging enthusiasm of those who had gathered sand to build a tower. Lu Qing even felt his scalp tingling and his body trembling. Hundreds and thousands of people gathered bit by bit to cheer for him was so soul-stirring that the blood in his body couldn't help but boil. He couldn't wait to be the one representing Songqing University Martial Arts Club in the next battle. After a month of hard practice, he had grasped the visualization and moves of 24 blizzard strikes. He kept practicing and improving, but since the start of the district contest, the special training was cancelled. Without a reference, he was not sure what level he had reached. Gathering his scattered thoughts, he refocused on Geezer Sher's explanation. This was the first time he participated in a martial arts competition, And the first time he saw the locker room before a match, Geezer sure still looked like an empty nest old man. But he was a bit serious this time. He said to Lin Ke, Chen Zhonghua, and the other leading players and substitutes, "The strongest one in Guanan is Gu Yue Jr. He is the son of their instructor, Gu Zhen, and the president of the martial arts club." Lu Qing almost burst out laughing. He thought Geezer sure would introduce him seriously, but he was gossiping about his opponent's background. Geezer sure changed the topic. "After hearing what I said, are you relieved? Do you think that this is a guy who got in through the back door?" Hey, he did get in through the back door, but he is also a real talent. He passed the professional ranking event in April this year and got 9th pin. He should have gotten in at the same time as you. Lin Ke nodded slightly. He seemed to have known about it. Gu Yu is tall, strong and strong. His fighting style is very tough. Pay attention to the adjectives I used, very tough. Geezer sure coughed a few times. You should have seen his match videos. I'll focus on 3 aspects. First, don't underestimate his strength and tough fighting style, ignoring his advantage in stamina. Except for the time when he lost to Chu Hui of Sanjiang, he always took the lead and fought all 3 matches without showing any signs of fatigue. While talking, he glanced at Lu Qing, as if to say, "We have a monster on our side." Lu Qing nodded silently, feeling sorry. In terms of stamina, I can make him call me daddy. The second aspect is that he's very patient. When he runs into opponents who are skilled in guerrilla warfare, he will defend himself firmly and not follow them blindly. He will counter their attacks as they come. Then, he will either wait for their stamina to drop and reveal a problem, or he will purposely show an opening to lock them down. He will use a tough fighting style that is not afraid of being injured or running out of stamina to end the battle in a short time. Geezer sure glanced at Lu Qing again, as if to say, "If you are stronger, you will be Gu Yu's nemesis. Gu Yu will never be able to wait for your physical strength to decline. If we really played like this, we could battle for 3 days and 3 nights to see who could defeat the Sandman." Lu Qing was imagining such a scene. Unfortunately, it would be too unfriendly to the audience. He would be cursed at 18 generations of his ancestors, and no one would watch his matches in the future. He could only dream about it. Geezer sure magically took out a metal flagon, took a deep sip, and smacked his lips. The third aspect is that according to my observation, and the information collected by Lin Hua, Gu Yu is very conceited and proud. Therefore, he will definitely be the first to fight. He won't expect the other contestants to exhaust Lin Ke's stamina. Lin Hua had a close friend in Guanan school, and she turned her friend into an informant. "Lin Ke, you will be the first to fight. Defeat Gu Yu head-on and destroy Guanan's momentum. As long as we win the first round, our chances of winning will be more than 70%. Geezer sure looked at Lin Ke was wearing the white martial arts suit of Songqing University with black edges, looking clean and fresh. At this moment, facing Geezer Shure's arrangement, he still answered with no expression. "Okay. You can pretend to play guerrilla warfare, and let Gu Yu purposely show an opening to win. Then you can seize this opportunity to attack him crazily with 24 blizzard strikes, and completely suppress him. You will not give him any chance to recover and counterattack." Geezer sure laid out the tactical arrangement. Lin Ke thought for a while, and nodded to show his agreement. "In this way, you won't have much strength left in the second round. At that time, if Ji Lan is the first to fight, you will have a chance to win. If Fei Sanli is the first to fight, you can exhaust his strength and irritate him. Then you will leave the second to fight Chen Zhonghua." Geezer sure turned his eyes to Chen Zhonghua, whose eyebrows were like flying insects. "Fei Sanli's level is about the same as yours. He has a vicious fighting style. Of course, a martial arts competition is a real fight. There are no restrictions in a real fight. There is nothing wrong with his fighting style. At most, he will be hated by the audience. You have to protect yourself first, in case you get hit by a sneak attack and lose all your previous efforts." Chen Zhonghua thought for a while and said, "Okay, I will be careful. If there is no accident, you will have no problem defeating Fei Sanli, who has fought with Lin Quebec. As long as you don't get injured, you can change to a tough fighting style in the last round." Jilan is just of amateur second pin. Give her enough pressure, and she will probably panic. She may not be able to take advantage of your weakness of consuming too much energy. Gizershur continued to analyze and arrange. After hearing his words, everyone suddenly felt that they had a high chance of winning. If you get injured in the fight with Fei Sanli, you can force Jilan to fight hand-to-hand and drain her energy. This will help our last fighter, Li Mao, gain an advantage. Gizershur looked at Li Mao again and said, although you are 1 pin lower than Jilan, as long as Lin Ke and Qin Zhanghua do what I asked, it won't be difficult for you to defeat her. It's a pity that senior brother Sun Jian is injured and senior brother Wu Dong quit the martial arts club. Otherwise we would have won. Guoqing said regretfully. Wu Dong felt that losing to Lu Qing was too shameful, and he was busy looking for a job. After his injury was healed, he simply quit the martial arts club. For him, every time he saw Lu Qing, it was like being slapped in the face. Gizershur snorted and said, Wu Dong? He is half disabled. Even if he comes back, he won't be a match for Li Mao. Li Mao, are you okay? Li Mao swallowed his saliva and listened to the roaring cheers outside. He nodded hard. That's it. Lin Hua and Guoqing will be the substitutes. Gizershur signaled Lu Qing to write down the list and handed it to the match supervisor. Before a fighter entered the ring, if his old injury flared up, the substitutes could play a role. But if the fighter had entered the ring, even if he fainted before the fight, he could only be considered as a loser and could not be replaced. Lu Qing quickly wrote down the list arranged by Gizershur and handed it to the match supervisor by the door. The moment the supervisor took the paper and stepped out of the door, there was a sudden silence outside for a few seconds. Then came the roaring cheers. Songqing University, come on. Lin Ke, come on. Lin Ke, Lin Ke. Such cheers hit Lu Cheng's heart like an electric current. He wanted to stand in the center of the ring and accept the crazy and surging cheers and attention. Next year at this time, he clenched his fists quietly. Hearing the cheers and shouts, both locker rooms were silent for a while. Songqing University's martial arts atmosphere is so good. No wonder it's a well-known martial arts school. In the Guanan school side, the bald Fei Sanli was a little shocked. Sitting on the metal bench, Guyu slowly put on his wristband and suddenly stood up. His tall and strong body brought a strong pressure to the surrounding people. A well-known martial arts school? 10 years ago you could say so. But now a bunch of Tom, Dick, and Harry can't compare with our Guanan school. Guyu moved his neck left and right and looked at his father Gu Zhen. Come on. Gu Zhen and Guyu seemed to be made from the same mold. They both had high noses and deep eyes, which made them look like mixed bloods. But one had gray hair, while the other had erect hair. Guyu rubbed his hands and walked to the door. Come on. Come on. Fei Sanli, Jilan, and other members of the martial arts club stood up at the same time. It was a spectacular scene before a battle. In the Songqing University side, Lu Qing stood by the door and looked at the seats full of spectators. He couldn't find Yin Jika leading the cheers. Looking back, he found Lin Ke put the black thermos cup aside and stood up slowly. Lin Ke! Lin Ke! Hearing the cheers, Qin Zhanghua was stunned for a moment. When he first joined the martial arts club, who didn't want to be in the limelight in front of the whole school and receive their adoration and love? Who didn't want to defeat strong opponents and win glory for the martial arts club? When he was a freshman, he could only do odd jobs and envied his senior brothers and sisters enjoying the cheers. When he was a sophomore, he finally became the main force and represented the Songqing University Martial Arts Club in 2 knockout matches and 3 group matches. Qin Zhanghua. Cheers. That was a glorious moment that he would never forget in his life. But year after year of failure, the enthusiasm of his classmates was exhausted. The martial arts club became less popular, and he lost the confidence to defeat strong opponents. He began to degenerate and only wanted to maintain his position. When he was a junior, he lost the 2nd knockout match. The audience was sparse and couldn't suppress the cheers of his opponents. He couldn't hear the cheers for Qin Zhanghua anymore. Today, when he was about to say goodbye to Songqing University, such a scene appeared again. It was like yesterday, but the name was Lin K this time. Lin K. He suddenly shouted at Lin K, who was walking to the door. Lin K stopped and looked back indifferently. Lu Cheng and the others suddenly felt nervous, fearing that there would be another conflict. Chen Zhonghua stood up and walked to Lin Quebec. He reached out his right hand and took a deep breath. Come on. Lin K was stunned. Lu Cheng and the others were also stunned. After a few seconds, Lin K's expression didn't change, but he reached out his right hand and shook Chen Zhonghua's hand like a high five. They shook hands tightly. Turning around, the members of the martial arts club walked out of the locker room. Outside the locker room was a huge stadium with deafening shouts. There was a black mass of heads on both sides of the stadium. There was also a stone staircase leading up to the arena. This was the road of glory, the road of glory. Chapter 29. Songqing University. The shouts were like a wave, roaring and almost overturning the roof of the martial arts arena. Lu Cheng, who was walking at the back, saw Chen Zhonghua, Li Mao, Guoqing and the others pause. Even Lin K, who was always cold and quiet, slowed down his pace. How could such a scene not make one's blood boil? The referee, a man with a broad face in his 40s, was standing in the center of the arena. According to the rules of the Martial Arts Alliance, the referee and supervisor should be at least 2 ranks higher than the contestants in order to prevent accidental deaths and serious injuries. However, in a duel between 3 ranks of physical invulnerability experts, the referee and supervisor were almost non-existent, so there was no rank requirement. Fortunately, it was easy to defeat the experts of this rank, but difficult to injure them seriously, who didn't have a trump card. The gentlemen of professional 7th Pin looked at the Songqing University Martial Arts Club and Guanan School Martial Arts Club in their seats, took a deep breath and shouted clearly. The first match between Songqing University Martial Arts Club and Guanan School Martial Arts Club. Lin K versus Guyu. He didn't have the ability of Liang Yifan, so he could only rely on the loudspeaker to let his voice spread throughout the arena and drown out the waves of shouts. With a boom, the atmosphere in the arena was pushed to the highest level, as if there was a sonic boom in the arena. Was it a duel between the leading fighters at the beginning? Guyu shook his body and threw off his outer coat. He stood up in his sky blue martial arts suit and strode to the stone steps in front of him. Come on, Guyu! The Guanan school cheered loudly. Their voices were drowned out in an instant. Every corner of the martial arts arena seemed to be set on fire. Go Lin K! Go Lin K! Guyu stepped into the arena and saw a figure with a white background and black edges walking towards him. Lin K touched the school badge on his chest, which said, "All mountains are small at a glance." He calmed down and cupped his hands in front of his chest. I don't understand why you are such an idiot to choose Songqing University. Don't you know the martial arts club here is synonymous with a garbage dump? If you had come to Guanan, you would have had a chance to enter the national finals this year. According to the usual practice, there would be 3 minutes of dialogue before the referee announced the start of the match. It could be a small talk, a heart-to-heart battle, and Guyu did not waste it. Of course, this rule only applied before the start of the first round. The second and third rounds did not give time to recover. Lin K looked at him expressionlessly and didn't say a word. Why aren't you speaking? Are you afraid that the moment you open your mouth, you'll reveal the anger or regret in your heart? Guyu jabbed at Lin K with his trash talk, hoping to peel off the annoying calm mask of Lin K before the fight officially started. 3 minutes were about to pass, but there was no change on Lin K's face, which made Guyu feel frustrated. He blurted out, "Are you autistic? Or are they born deaf and mute?" He wasn't expecting an answer, but Lin K suddenly opened his mouth. His tone was cold and emotionless. There's nothing to say to the weak. There's nothing to say to the weak? Weaklings? All of a sudden, Guyu's anger rushed to his head, his eyes burning red. At this moment, the referee extended his hand and pressed down. Begin! Guyu leaned forward aggressively, trying to pull Lin K into close combat range with a tough posture. Lin K took a step forward and dodged to the side. He twisted his waist and swung his fists at Guyu's left and right temples, with a sound like the beating of golden drums. Guyu didn't panic. He lowered his body slightly and blocked the attack with his hands. Then he tried to catch Lin Ke with the grappling hand. With another step, Lin Ke changed his position to avoid the grappling hand. Then he twisted his body and kicked at Guyu's shin. As soon as the kick was blocked, Lin Ke changed his position again, putting on the most standard and obvious guerrilla fighting posture. Guerrilla fighting? According to the collected information, his endurance is obviously not as good as mine, and guerrilla fighting consumes more energy than my steady defense. Is he using his weak point to attack my strong point? Is there a trap? The thought flashed through Guyu's mind. His hands were like two iron plates, cooperating with his feet from time to defend. Lin Ke stepped to the left, and Guyu changed his standing posture and center of gravity accordingly. At this moment, he saw Lin Ke straighten his back and straighten his spine like a wriggling python. He forcibly recovered his center of gravity and returned to his original position. Then he threw a palm at Guyu's weak point. What? Guyu was a little flustered, but his mind was clear and his decision was decisive. He lowered his back and bent his legs to avoid the palm. Then he adjusted his center of gravity and raised his hands to block Lin Ke's follow-up attack. Bang! Lin Ke moved away again and continued to guerrilla, attacking once or twice from time to time. That was really dangerous. Lin Ke's control and adjustment of center of gravity are almost at the level of Danshi. No wonder he chose guerrilla fighting. He wants to give me a hard hit. Guyu defended steadily and thought to himself, there's no such thing as a thief for 1,000 days. I have to create an opportunity to draw him closer. I can't let him change his direction so easily anymore. Maybe there will be more tricks next time. While thinking, Guyu pretended to be impatient. When Lin Ke attacked again, he tried to catch up and counterattack, which slightly messed up his footwork. Bang! Lin Ke didn't waste this opportunity. He stepped forward and came to Guyu's front. His palm hit Guyu hard at the junction of his right shoulder and right arm. Nice! The audience burst into cheers. Guyu showed a ferocious smile in the midst of the cheers. His left hand seemed to have been prepared. He rolled up and grabbed Lin Ke's arm. Then he stretched his legs and was about to give Lin Ke a fatal hit. But at this moment, he suddenly heard the sharp sound of wind. The scene of the crazy winter storm appeared in his mind, and he even felt a bit of pain on his face. Lin Ke didn't dodge. Calmness and madness coexisted in his eyes. He clenched his other hand into a fist and punched at Guyu. His momentum was extremely fierce, and his speed was beyond imagination. Guyu didn't dare to be careless. After weighing the pros and cons, he gave up the idea of sticking close to Lin Quebec. He shook his right hand and blocked with his left hand. He chose to defend again. Punches, kicks, elbows and knees came one after another. Guyu felt like he was in a vast ice field facing an overwhelming snowstorm. He didn't even have the slightest chance to breathe. In the seats of the Songqing University Martial Arts Club, Lu Qing stood up unconsciously. This was the first 8 strikes of 24 blizzard strikes. In his eyes, Lin Ke was getting faster and faster. Not only was he draining all his strength, but he was also constantly adjusting his center of gravity and muscles to borrow some strength from Guyu's parry. It was like there was a spring between them. Every time Lin Ke retreated, Lin Ke would move faster and faster, pushing the craziness and fierceness of the blizzard strike. The more Guyu fought, the more frightened he became. He felt like he was a pedestrian in a snowstorm. If he didn't struggle, he would definitely die. If he struggled, he would waste precious energy. He was getting weaker and weaker, colder and colder. This is the true essence of 24 blizzard strikes. It doesn't stick to one move or one style. Lu Qing was dazzled. Every detail of his practice over the past month came to his mind. He kept breaking down and mixing them together. His hands were itching to try it out. 24 blizzard strikes was divided into 3 groups of 8 strikes. What Lin Ke showed was the essence of the first group, brutal blizzard. Bang! 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 The sound of punches and kicks, and the collision of bodies kept coming. The cheers in the martial arts stadium gradually died down. Bang! A figure kept retreating. He was kicked in the chest again, and rolled out of the arena. After a short silence, the crowd burst out again. Lin Ke. The winner, Lin Ke. Guyu turned over and stood up, gasping for breath. He couldn't believe he was defeated like this. He had almost no chance to fight back. His chest hurt even more. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Lin Ke, who was breathing unevenly on the arena. He snorted and returned to his seat. He said to Fei Sanli bitterly, "Don't give him time to recover. He can't hold on for long." Fei Sanli touched his bald head and laughed. He trotted to the stone steps and stepped into the arena. Without the referee's announcement, he directly pounced on Lin Ke with his footwork. Lin Ke didn't choose to dodge. He dodged sideways and narrowed the distance between them. They started to fight hand to hand. Fei Sanli didn't give in and used all kinds of moves. His 2 fingers brushed past Lin Ke's eyelids. Lin Ke's fist scraped his abdomen. His right hand grabbed a handful of Lin Ke's hair. Lin Ke's knife hand chopped his arm. This fight was really unscrupulous. The referee, who had been waiting by the side, was secretly nervous. He was afraid that one wrong move would cause an accident or injury. In an official martial arts competition, the 2 sides tacitly accepted the life and death contract. But after the competition, the referee would investigate whether he intentionally caused the death or injury. When it was time to act, he chose to ignore it. After 2 or 3 minutes, the 2 figures suddenly separated. Lin Ke squinted, bleeding from his nostrils and trembling body. Fei Sanli's face was bruised and swollen. He kept shaking his legs, as if he wanted to rub the bruises on the spot. The referee glanced at them and raised his right hand. The winner, Fei Sanli. Victory and defeat were clear, so he stopped both sides from continuing to fight without regard for their lives. Earth-shattering boos broke out. They despised Fei Sanli's hooligan fighting style. Lin Ke took a deep breath and turned around to leave the arena. He didn't waste any time to reduce Fei Sanli's recovery time. Chen Zhonghua abruptly stood up and flexed the muscles in his arms. With a few vigorous steps, he crossed the stone steps and brushed past Lin Quebec. Lu Qing also went to support Lin Quebec. He felt that Lin Ke's breath was gone. His body suddenly became weak, and he almost fell. "Thank you," Lin Ke said in a low voice. "It's what I should do." Lu Qing looked at him and said sincerely, "Your 24 blizzard strikes is really good. But in this way, the consumption of physical strength is really terrible." After 1 round, even Lin Ke couldn't bear it. "Well, this fighting style is perfect with my characteristics. I have never worried about the lack of physical strength. It seems that Master didn't choose this martial arts style for no reason." Chen Zhonghua stepped into the arena. In front of him was Fei Sanli, who was breathing heavily and looking miserable. The scene suddenly changed. He seemed to return to the scene when he represented Songqing University Martial Arts Club for the first time. After a long time, it was still vivid in his mind. I was also in high spirits. I was also full of enthusiasm. I was also here to shine. At this moment, waves of cheers rang out in his ears. "Chen Zhonghua, come on! Chen Zhonghua, come on! Chen Zhonghua, come on!" Chen Zhonghua was stunned. He almost thought that he was in a dream. His eyes were slightly red. He looked at Fei Sanli like a tiger and used the snake steps to rush over. "Seize the tail of youth. I can burn again. I am the president of Songqing University Martial Arts Club." Chapter 30. With his snake-like steps, Chen Zhonghua lowered his center of gravity. Like a heavy truck, he wobbled towards Fei Sanli. Fei Sanli and Chen Zhonghua had clashed head-on with each other. Although Fei Sanli had dodged and blocked all of Chen Zhonghua's attacks, Fei Sanli was badly battered, his legs were sore, and his body was weak. Facing Chen Zhonghua, who was obviously taller, heavier and stronger than him, Fei Sanli did not dare to be careless. He quickly made a decision based on his own judgment. He took a step to the left and tried to avoid the attack. Just like when he challenged Lin Ke, Chen Zhonghua seemed to be prepared for Fei Sanli's move. He changed his footwork and suddenly accelerated. Like a heavy water buffalo with 2 horns, he rushed toward Fei Sanli. His momentum was so fierce and terrifying that Fei Sanli felt the arena tremble slightly. He did not know the yin-yang stance, so he could not coordinate his whole body. pull back his center of gravity, and change his inertia. However, after years of practicing martial arts, he had experienced this situation. He immediately shrank his body and squatted down, trying to avoid Chen Zhonghua's upper body. At the same time, he stretched out his right hand and used the monkey steals the peach to attack Chen Zhonghua's most vulnerable part. In the auditorium, watching this scene through several big screens, many male students felt a chill in their crotch. According to the current situation, before Chen Zhonghua hit Fei Sanli, he would be caught by Fei Sanli. Moreover, due to the inertia after the momentum, Chen Zhonghua's hasty dodge would inevitably mess up his footwork. This was really a pain in the ass. What should he do? The audience was nervous. Fei Sanli was very satisfied with his own response. In the blink of an eye, he had gained the upper hand and put his opponent in a very dangerous situation. Chen Zhonghua was still too impatient and reckless. At this moment, he saw his opponent's feet were off the ground. Off the ground? Wasn't this a taboo in a fight in the body-refining state? How could he maintain his footwork, control his center of gravity, and put his body in a position where he could easily exert force? Could Chen Zhonghua fly? Fei Sanli's eyes turned and saw a dark mass in front of him. A heavy object fell on top of his head. Chen Zhonghua was not Chu Hui, so of course he could not fly. He just jumped up to avoid Fei Sanli's monkey steals the peach and threw his body directly toward Fei Sanli. This was an unconventional way of fighting, but Fei Sanli was in a half squat and could not change in time. Chen Zhonghua's height and weight, coupled with the inertia of rushing forward, made him feel as if Mount Tai was pressing down on him. Fei Sanli curled up his body and tried to roll forward to avoid Chen Zhonghua, but he was too slow. Chen Zhonghua fell from the sky and crushed him under his body. Thump! Both of them fell to the ground at the same time. Fei Sanli was a little dizzy from the fall. Chen Zhonghua seized the opportunity and stretched out his hands, grabbing Fei Sanli's wrists. At the same time, he exerted force with his legs, trying to lock Fei Sanli's lower body to prevent him from being hit by the knee. This was the basic skill of the school of throwing. The situation had entered Chen Zhonghua's field of expertise. Of course, Fei Sanli would not sit still and wait for his death. He struggled with his legs to avoid being pinned down. He shook his hands and skillfully exerted his strength to escape from the capture. Kai Zhongming, who was sitting in the audience seat, had his mouth half open. Why does this look like a King rape scene? The corner of Lu Cheng's mouth twitched as he muttered to himself, "This is really rubbing against the ground." While struggling, Fei Sanli suddenly raised his head and hit Chen Zhonghua's nose with his head like a cannonball. He wanted to get out of this situation at all costs. Chen Zhonghua was experienced and did not panic. He exerted force with his waist and back and turned over. He was on the bottom, and Fei Sanli was on the top. He easily avoided the headbutt. Then he exerted force with his legs and rolled again. The two of them rolled around on the ground, one trying to control the other trying to get rid of him. Occasionally, they would bump into each other, and occasionally they would try to catch each other. While they were fighting, Chen Zhonghua suddenly shouted and followed Fei Sanli's example and headbutted him. Bam! Amidst the dull thuds, the two of them bumped their foreheads against each other. Both of them were dizzy, and the pain was unbearable. Their ears were ringing incessantly, and it was as if they could see golden stars jumping out one after another. Their tumbling and wrestling movements came to an abrupt halt. Chen Zhonghua took advantage of the fact that he was on top and had not fought hard before. He quickly recovered and firmly locked Fei Sanli's movements. He put Fei Sanli's hands behind his back, face down, and pressed him to the ground. Chen Zhonghua wins. The referee observed for a while and announced the result. Good job. Chen Zhonghua! Chen Zhonghua! Chen Zhonghua! Shouts burst out and filled the whole martial arts arena. Chen Zhonghua stood up shakily. His head was still dizzy, but his eyes were full of excitement and joy. I can do it. I can accept cheers. I am the president of Songqing University Martial Arts Club. Won't I get a concussion? Lu Qing touched his forehead. The martial arts competition was not a show. It was cruel enough. Accidents, injuries, and deaths happened every year. Yizershire stood beside him and said leisurely, "Yes, but it's not very serious. Don't think about whether you will get hurt or die in the arena. Leave it to the referee to decide. Lu Qing took a deep breath and did not say more. He was still a student. The seats of Guanan School were silent. Coach Gu Zhen and President Gu Yu were silent for a while. There was only one contestant left, and the opponent, Gorilla, seemed to still have some strength left. Ji Lan. Take advantage of the fact that he has a concussion. Fight him first and make him more dizzy. Seize the opportunity and take him down. Gu Zhen looked at the girl next to him. Ji Lan was a manly girl with extremely short and thin hair. She pursed her lips, left her seat, and stepped on the stone steps. Fei Sanli staggered down the steps. There seemed to be circles and circles of confusion in his eyes. Entering the arena, Ji Lan slid close to him and gave him a kick, which was blocked by Chen Zhanghua. She immediately stepped back and kept her footwork. It seemed that she was better at kicking. Side kick, low kick, and roundhouse kick. Her figure was nimble, her footwork was nimble, and her feet were powerful. Chen Zhanghua, who was a little dizzy, gradually became flustered. Suddenly approaching, Ji Lan kicked Chen Zhanghua's face with the tip of her right foot. Chen Zhanghua was a little slow, as if he could not react. But when Ji Lan's kick hit his face, he suddenly grabbed her shoulder with both hands. His facial muscles were twisted because of the pain. Instead of falling back, his body was pressed forward. With the strength of his hands and the pressure of his body, Chen Zhanghua wanted to use the same trick to press Ji Lan to the ground and win in what he was good at. Ji Lan was shocked. Her feet flew up and twisted Chen Zhanghua's upper body like a pair of scissors. She took advantage of the force of the fall and threw her opponent out. Thump! Both of them fell to the ground and were dizzy. Ji Lan stood up like a carp and took advantage of Chen Zhanghua's dizziness to get close to him and grab his throat with her right hand. Ji Lan wins, the referee said concisely. Chen Zhanghua slowly stood up and shook his head. His footsteps were light as he walked down. When he brushed past Li Mao, who was the third to go up, he said in a low voice, "She was thrown very hard by me. She also used a lot of energy. She should be able to calm down a little." Li Mao stared at the front and nodded slightly, indicating that he got it. During the whole process, he did not look at Chen Zhanghua. He was a little dull, and the cheers of "Go Li Mao" echoed in his ears. Phew, that was close. But Ji Lan is out of strength, Guo Qing said to Lin Hua from the seat, obviously happy. It was a pity that Yen Zhika had no time to turn on QQ, because she had to organize the cheers, so it was hard for them to share information. He looked at the stage and secretly cheered for Li Mao. But as he watched, his face changed slightly because Li Mao's body was obviously trembling. In that instant, the words that Li Mao had once said to him appeared in his mind. "Sai, I can't do it. I'm so nervous that I'm trembling in the amateur ranking event. Fortunately, my opponents are either too weak or more nervous than me." F***CK. Is senior brother Li Mao overly nervous? Lu Qing could see that Ji Lan was not blind. She had also noticed her opponent's abnormal state. She immediately gritted her teeth and made the boldest attempt. She gave up the guerrilla fight and took the initiative to attack. "I can't give him a chance to calm down." Step forward, side kick. Facing Ji Lan's attack, Li Mao's mind was in a mess. He did not know what to do, or why he was in such a state. "I can't disappoint everyone. I can't disappoint Coach Shi. I can't disappoint Lin K and the others." The more he thought, the more confused he was. The cheers of "Go Li Mao" made him feel so stressed that his mind was blank. He instinctively raised his hand to block, but it was too late. Ji Lan kicked him in the chest and made him stumble backward. Li Mao regained consciousness from the pain in his chest, as if he had returned to the time of training. However, Ji Lan's kicking skills followed one after another. She took advantage of his unstable footing and kicked him again and again. Bam! 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 Li Mao was kicked continuously. Although he tried to block, he was almost kicked into the air. He retreated step by step to the edge of the arena and fell down. The warm atmosphere in the martial arts arena suddenly froze, as if it had dropped to the freezing point. They had gotten the key to victory and taken the absolute advantage. Why was the result reversed in less than a minute? Lin K stood up and clenched his fists tightly. Chen Zhonghua was at a loss. He suspected that he had not woken up yet, and that the dream just now had turned into a nightmare. Lu Qing stared blankly. There was only one thought in his mind. Is this the end of this year's martial arts competition? It's so simple that it's unreal. Everyone's hard work in the past 2 months is over just like that? This was the martial arts competition. The winner would accept all the honor and cheers, and the loser would be forgotten. Yin Jika stood quietly in the stands with red eyes. She was like this, Lin Hua was like this, Guo Qing was like this, and all the girls and some boys of Songqing University were like this. No one could understand this kind of pain and sadness without experiencing failure. In the seats of Guanan School, Gu Yu and the others seemed to be in a daze. After a long time, they raised their hands and cheered with fear and relief. After helping the supervisor clean up the mess, Lu Qing went back to the locker room. The moment he stepped in, he felt extremely depressed and silent. Lin Kei, who was always cold and indifferent, was sitting on the metal bench half-naked. He covered his head with his white and black clothes and buried it in his chest. He was so silent that he looked like a stone statue. Chen Zhonghua stood in the corner with his right hand bleeding. In front of him was a dented cabinet door. He kept growling in a low voice. How could this happen? How could this happen? How could this happen? Li Mao stood in the center timidly with his head slightly lowered. He kept saying, "It's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault." Guo Qing and Lin Hua were sobbing silently with tears streaming down their faces. The immense sadness seemed to have materialized and crashed into him. Lu Qing opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but he couldn't. It's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault. Li Mao kept apologizing like a helpless child. At this moment, he saw a black shadow at his feet. He looked up blankly. Gizershur's old face with few wrinkles appeared vaguely in front of him. You know you're wrong. Make up for it next year. Gizershur said gently. Li Mao finally burst into tears, snot and tears flowing down his cheeks. Yes, coach. Lu Cheng's eyes were wet. He couldn't forget this scene for a long time. Chapter 31. The atmosphere in the martial arts club had been gloomy for a long time, and it was only slightly relieved after the clean victory over Luqing University of Science and Technology. During this period, there was also the match where they went to Shanbei to challenge the national champion. In front of Su Wanyan, Lin Kei, Chen Zhonghua, and Sun Jian, who had just recovered from his injury, performed abnormally. Lu Qing, who was with the team, almost couldn't believe his eyes. It wasn't until the conclusion of the match when Gizershur confirmed that Su Wanyan had the ability of eloquence that everyone suddenly understood. It was late December, when the group competition ended. Businesses began to decorate their stores for the increasingly popular Christmas season. Lu Qing walked out of the small dormitory and came to the living room. He sat down beside Kai Zhongming, who was watching the martial arts competition attentively. Talker, I have something to ask you. You're so polite and attentive. You're up to no good. Kai Zhongming joked. Is it about your goddess? Hee. Lu Qing could only laugh to express his acquiescence. How are things going between you and your goddess? I see that you're smiling obscenely every day. It should be good, right? Kai Zhongming asked casually. Lu Qing thought for a while, and couldn't help but smile. After losing to Guanan, she was in a bad mood for a long time. I racked my brains every day, and tried to cheer her up. I think that since the two of them had fought through the bad times together, their relationship should have improved. The first of the three biggest delusions in life. Kai Zhongming poured cold water on him mercilessly. Only when she is willing to talk about her own affairs with you in private, and talk about her relatives and friends, can your relationship be better. Yes. She often talks about herself these days. I feel like I'm getting to know her all over again. Before, I only admired her appearance and the rumors about her. Now. Lu Qing was too embarrassed to talk about mushy things in front of Kai Zhongming, so he brought the topic back to the beginning. I remember you said before that after the group competition in December, you could ask her out alone with the help of the amateur ranking event. What if he did not ask her out on holidays like Christmas, and others took advantage of him? This was called crisis awareness. Kai Zhongming laughed. You don't need to ask me about such a simple thing. After 3 months of training, your goddess's martial arts level has improved tremendously. Don't you want to participate in the amateur ranking event? Don't you want to know your current rank? The amateur ranking event was held 4 times a year. Different places had different timings. In Songcheng, the amateur ranking event lasted for 2 days at the end of March, June, September and December. However, the professional ranking event was held nationwide in April and October every year. Yeah, when we were chatting, she was quite concerned about her own martial arts strength. Lu Qing agreed. You've been training for 3 months. Didn't you say you were of amateur 9th pin? Don't you want to know what rank they are now? Kai Zhongming asked again. Yes. Lu Qing did not refute. Isn't that simple? Both of them wanted to attend the ranking event, and were very close friends. It was only natural for them to go together. But your goddess will most likely ask Guiqing to come along. You can do the same, and ask old Qiu to come along. When the time comes, you can signal to old Qiu and Guiqing to have some private time together. Your goddess will definitely agree. Then, won't it be a 2-person world? Kai Zhongming looked at Lu Qing disdainfully. And then, Lu Qing asked. Kai Zhongming chuckled and said, if she passes the ranking event and gets the rank she wants, you can ask her out for a meal in the name of congratulating her. If she fails miserably, you can use the excuse of relieving your mood and eating to make yourself feel better. I mean, you two are alone outside, so why worry about not having a reason? If it's still early, you can go to a movie or a cafe. Choose a quiet place. Damn, these are all tricks. Lu Qing wanted to take a notebook and write them down. At this time, Kai Zhongming rubbed his belly and frowned. I'll go to the toilet first. I'll tell you more when I come back. After watching him go into the bathroom, Lu Qing withdrew his gaze and thought about asking Yinjika out for a meal. She was such a good girl. There must be a lot of suitors around her. If he hesitated and hesitated, someone might beat him to it. But was it a good time to ask her out now? Could he ask her out? Would it be too abrupt? Would it make it impossible for them to be friends? Would she also have a secret crush on someone? For a moment, he was worried about his gains and losses. His heart alternated between sweet and sour, enriching all kinds of inner drama. After a long time, the martial arts competition ended. Hearing the commentator's comments, Lu Qing suddenly came back to himself. Where am I? What am I doing? I'm here to ask Xiaoming. Where is Xiaoming? Is he still in the toilet? Lu Qing turned around and looked at the bathroom in confusion. It's been almost half an hour. The competition is over. Why hasn't Kai Zhongming come out yet? Could he have fainted in there? While thinking, he heard the sound of flushing and the door of the cubicle opening. Then he saw Kai Zhongming come out holding the wall and floating on his feet. Talker, what's wrong with you? Lu Qing stood up and greeted him. Kai Zhongming gnashed his teeth. Damn it. I'm seriously constipated. Seriously constipated. Constipation. Lu Qing was stunned at first. Then he understood the whole story. Ha 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 ha. He held his belly and laughed. Who told you to eat plain rice with laogan ma every day? Ha ha ha, you asked for it. No wonder this guy stayed in the toilet for so long. Although Xiaoming didn't strictly follow the plan to save money, he still had a lot of perseverance. At least he would eat plain rice with laogan ma every day. When it was almost Christmas, he did it for several consecutive days. Finally, he was constipated. Ha 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 ha. Kai Zhongming sat down helplessly and endured Lu Cheng's wanton ridicule. He said self-deprecatingly, damn it. My ass hurts. After laughing for a while, Lu Qing wiped his tears. I'll remember this. When you get married, I'll solemnly announce it to the guests and let them know that you've worked so hard for love. It's so touching. Only a few days left before I fly to the capital. Sigh, I'll stop saving. I'll start eating good food. Kai Zhongming sighed and changed the topic. When you're alone with your goddess, don't follow the tutorials on the internet. What do you mean that you agree to be in a relationship once you've asked her out? Be bold and seize the opportunity to hold her hand. Every girl has a different personality. Your goddess is obviously not suitable for this. Of course, when you're alone, you have to show that you value her appropriately. Otherwise, your goddess will think that you don't mean it and accept someone else. Show proper respect. Lu Qing acted like a good student. Be more attentive, more considerate, more compliments, more attention, and let her vaguely feel it. As long as you don't point it out, most girls will still enjoy this feeling. Let me remind you, don't be in a hurry to confess. Confessing is a finishing move, not a starting move. When your relationship is unfamiliar, no one will accept a sudden confession. Of course, it also depends on the face. When your relationship is closer and a little ambiguous, girls will be more hesitant. Confessing will only increase the pressure on her and make her slowly lose her joy. When the time is right, the best time to confess is when success comes naturally. Kai Zhongming played the role of a Casanova to his heart's content. Lu Qing memorized the words and went back to the dormitory. He turned on the computer and searched for information about the amateur ranking event. At the same time, he logged on QQ and sent a message to Yenjika. I'm going to participate in the amateur ranking event. What about you? Yenjika was online. She immediately replied with a fist clenched and cheering emoji. I was just about to ask you. I'm definitely going to participate. Hey, we have a tacit understanding. Lu Qing wanted to reply tacit understanding, but changed his mind. I've checked the registration form. The organization fee is 500 yuan in Songqing Martial Arts Club. Which pin do you want to apply for? 5th pin. Yenjika sent a devilish dog smile emoji. One must have a goal. What about you? Me. Lu Qing was stunned. Which pin should he apply for? He had reached the level of amateur 9th pin more than a month ago. After the fierce battle with Wu Dong, more than a month of hard work, the entry level of the visualization and fighting methods of 24 Blizzard Strikes, and the live martial arts competition, he had definitely surpassed this level. As for how much he had surpassed, he couldn't tell because he hadn't recovered from the training yet. 7th pin. Lu Qing sent a I'm so awesome emoji. 7th pin? If you fail in the ranking event, I'll pretend not to know you. Yenjika sent a snickering emoji. Give me a copy of the form. Let's sign up today. By the way, you call old Chiu, and I'll call Qing to create opportunities for them. Great minds think alike. Lu Qing sent an emoji of a proud smile wearing sunglasses. He was about to send the form to Yenjika when he saw the date at the top of the page. Why is it January? Lu Qing browsed the web and found the news a few days ago. He knew that Songqing Martial Arts Club was in disrepair and was undergoing maintenance. The amateur ranking event at the end of December was postponed to the middle of January. Oh no. He quickly sent a sniffling emoji and a link to the news to Yenjika. The ranking event has been postponed to the middle of January. I have so many exams to take at that time. I won't have time to participate. Yenjika sent an emoji of dizzy circles in its eyes. The middle of January was the exam season of Songqing University. I can only wait until March next year. Lu Cheng's heart was bleeding. He sent a pitiful emoji. Casanova's advice went down the drain. Plans couldn't keep up with changes. Forget it. I have something else to do. Yenjika sent an emoji of a nodding kitten. What is it? Lu Cheng's heart tightened. He pretended to ask casually. Is it a date? Yenjika sent a blank emoji of a white rabbit biting a carrot. I plan to study as soon as possible, but my aunt heard that my cousin is not in a good mood recently, so she came here and planned to stay until New Year's Day. I have to accompany her if I have nothing to do. Is your cousin also studying in Songqing? Or is he working? Lu Qing felt better when he saw that Yenjika was willing to talk about her relatives. According to Casanova, this was a sign that their relationship had improved. Yenjika sent a smirking emoji and said, Actually, you know him. I know him. Lu Qing was confused. Who is he? When did I know Yenjika's cousin? I have no impression of him at all. Guess. Yenjika replied. Could it be that gorilla? Lu Qing deliberately said Qinjianghua. Yenjika knew that I knew him. He was either in my class or in the special training of the martial arts club. Bah! How am I similar to him? When did I have the back of a tiger and the waist of a bear? Yenjika sent a scornful emoji. Guess again. Similar. Lu Qing had a flash of inspiration and sent Yenjika's favorite dumbfounded emoji. Could it be Lin K? You are smart. Yenjika sent a proud smile. He has been my idol since childhood. Lu Cheng's typing hand paused. He felt like there were 10,000 alpacas galloping in his heart. Damn, this is really big news. Fortunately, I didn't get jealous. I only envied Lin K, not envied or hated him. Now I just want to call him brother-in-law and hug his leg tightly. But you don't communicate at all? He asked in confusion. Chapter 32. Yenjika didn't reply. Sigh, since my uncle passed away, he has been a little autistic. I don't know how to talk to him. And if I act like I'm close to him, like a relative, the girls I know will definitely annoy me to death. Ku, help me send a letter to your cousin. Ku, ask your cousin to come out for dinner. Ku, what's your cousin's QQ number? In short, it's very troublesome. Haha, if the boys know Lin K is your cousin, he will also be so troublesome. Lu Qing tactfully praised Yenjika. Yenjika didn't say anything, but replied with a smiling emoji. The previous conversation flashed back. Lu Qing sent a who am I, where am I, what am I going to do emoji. In other words, you didn't go to the capital, but chose Songqing University because of your cousin? With Yenjika's consistent performance and her unfailing demeanor, it wouldn't be a big problem for her to get into the top school in Huahai. At first, he didn't expect to meet her at Songqing University at all. Maybe this is fate. Fate brought us together, even though we were thousands of miles apart. Yes, I shoulder a heavy responsibility. I have to watch over him, and don't let anything happen to him. Smashing table. Actually, I am the elder sister. Yenjika sent a cute emoji of smashing table. As she became more familiar with Lu Qing, she gradually revealed her hidden lively character, especially when chatting on the internet, which was slightly different from her usual delicate and elegant image. People are always complicated, and no one has only one side. I wanted to say it's a pity that you didn't go to the capital Huahai, but on second thought, it's good that you chose Songqing University, or I wouldn't even have the chance to say it's a pity. Lu Qing sent a silly smile emoji. According to Casanova's advice, he slightly hinted at his affection in his heart. Purely chatting like a friend would only make them friends for life. Yenjika sent an exhalation emoji in the mythical beast emoji pack. It's okay, actually it's not a pity. With my grades at that time, the chances of getting into the top 2 or 3 schools in Huahai were not big, and other famous schools were at the same level as Songqing University. And because of my uncle, I have a special feeling for Songqing University. Your uncle is related to Songqing University? Lu Qing was full of interest to know more about the girl on the other side of the phone. Didn't I tell you? He was my grandpa's disciple and childhood sweetheart with my aunt. He was a professional sixth-pin fighter at his peak and participated in the second level of the professional martial arts competition. Later, he was injured and retired from the martial arts circle. He became the instructor of the martial arts club in Songqing University. Those were the most glorious years of Songqing University Martial Arts Club. They once made it to the national finals, but unfortunately, they lost to Capital Academy and only got second place. Yenjika typed a bunch of words, as if she had some kind of desire to talk. Lu Qing sent a head comforting emoji. Has this matter become a knot in your uncle's heart? Your cousin only applied to Songqing University after he passed away to make up for his regret? Yes, Yenjika replied. My cousin and uncle were very close. Before my uncle died, there were only 2 things that he couldn't forget. One was that he regretted not being able to lead Songqing University Martial Arts Club to win the championship, and the other was that he was seriously injured in his prime and had to withdraw from the real martial arts circle. Your cousin will definitely help him make up for his regret. Lu Qing sent an encouraging emoji and changed the topic, trying to pull Yenjika's mood back. I didn't expect you to be born in a martial arts family. Grandpa, mother, uncle, aunt, cousin, they were all martial artists. Yenjika sent a sunglasses emoji. Yes, are you scared? I have inherited martial arts from my family. I'm so scared that I'm trembling. Please accept my bow. Lu Qing jested. Yenjika sent a snickering emoji. Unfortunately, I didn't learn it. Why? Lu Qing sent a dazed emoji. My mom and dad fell in love freely. My grandparents didn't like that foreign pretty boy. Hee, my dad was really a pretty boy when he was young. But they couldn't dissuade my mom. So they set a rule that they couldn't pass martial arts to the Yin family. So I had to rely on my uncle for my martial arts enlightenment. Yenjika sent an emoji of a little monster licking ice cream. Lu Qing savored every word and sentence of hers, paying more attention than the reading comprehension of the college entrance examination. He sent a wiping sweat emoji and said, "Judging from your tone, you don't seem to resent your grandparents. You seem to have a good relationship with your relatives over there." Of course, I'm so cute and well-behaved. Everyone loves me. How could they not love me? It's just that I was stupid back then. My grandparents are very proud. So they turned around and asked my uncle to enlighten me. Yenjika sent a laughing emoji covering its mouth. The real reason is that my family lives in Xioshan. So it's too far away. My uncle passed away later, so I put more energy into my studies. That's why I didn't learn martial arts. Learning more about Yenjika and talking about similar topics with her, Lu Qing gradually forgot the regret of not being able to ask her out. They talked until they almost forgot the time. In the principal's office in the small building by the lake, Geezer Sher and the principal with slick-back hair sat on both sides of the tea table, holding a bottle of vintage white wine in their hands. In front of them was a plate of peanuts and boiled edamame. How's the disciple you took in privately? Can he represent the martial arts club next year? The principal took a sip of the wine. Geezer Sher gulped down the wine. He's okay. He's just a young man. He's arrogant and thinks he's so great that he can graduate from the school. Haha, young people in every industry are like that. You were like that, and so was I. The principal laughed. Geezer Sher moved his left index finger, and one of the peanuts on the plate flew into his mouth automatically. I have to give him a setback, so that he can recognize his own strength. In the blink of an eye, it was already January. Kai Zhongming came back from the capital with a happy face. Lu Qing, who was a little worried about his long-distance relationship, was relieved and gave him a thumbs up. He was indeed a Casanova. Lu Qing was even more impressed with the amazing girl who could restrain this wild horse. Student Little Ming had the looks, the money, and the mouth. He actually kept his chastity for a semester. Since January, the students of Songqing University entered the tense and busy exam season. The special training of the martial arts club was suspended, so were all club activities. However, Lu Qing still kept the habit of getting up at 5:30 a.m. and going to the lakeside for training, even though Geezer Sher often slept in and didn't come. Lu Qing felt mentally and physically exhausted, which was even more tiring than practicing martial arts. Although he had been paying attention in class for the whole semester and didn't relax because of martial arts, he didn't have enough energy and time to take care of everything. He didn't have enough time to study and explore in-depth knowledge. He couldn't compare with Zhao Chang, who was a straight-A student. It's okay. It's just that I can't get a scholarship. Lu Qing reported to his mother on the phone. Lu Cheng's mother comforted him. It's not that easy to get a scholarship. You need to adapt in the first semester. Mom, you've changed. Under the influence of talker, Lu Qing joked more often. What changed? Lu Cheng's mother was confused. You used to care about my grades and urge me to study. You've changed. You don't care at all. Lu Qing said with a smile. You're in college. Do you still need me to care? Lu Cheng's mother scolded him with a smile. For many parents, grades were not so important once their children entered college. After chatting for a while, Lu Cheng's mother asked when he would go home. He wanted to know Yenjika's schedule and return to Xioshan with her. So he politely said that he still had something to do at school. As for the travel expenses, they had been included in this month's living expenses. After putting down the phone, Lu Qing calculated the time when the exam would end this afternoon. He logged on QQ and sent a message to Yenjika. Have you finished the last exam? He added a cheering emoji with a relieved expression. After waiting for a while, Yenjika sent a firecracker emoji. Finished. Finished. You look like you did well in the exam. Lu Qing sent a smirking emoji. Hee. Yenjika just smiled and did not answer. Lu Qing took a breath and asked directly. By the way, when are you going back to Xiushan? Let's go together. We can take care of each other. I can be a coolie. He sent a muscular arm emoji. It's a pity that I can't use you as a coolie. Yenjika sent a sneering emoji. It's our turn to celebrate the new year at Grandpa's house. I have to go to Jiangnan province. Lu Qing felt a sense of loss. He forced a smile and said, It's quite lively there, right? Yeah, Grandpa, Grandma, 2 uncles, 2 aunts, 1 aunt, 2 cousins, 1 cousin, 1 younger cousin, 1 younger cousin, 1 younger cousin, 1 younger cousin, and our family of 3. Yenjika sent an emoji of counting fingers. Lu Qing buried the sense of loss and pity in his heart, and soon recovered his mood. In the words of Kai Zhongming, his face was full of obscene smiles. They talked until dinner time. When Lu Qing was about to go to the canteen with Kai Zhongming, he saw Zhao Chong, Qiu Zhigao, and Zhang Jingye coming back together. Damn, you didn't go to study after the exam, did you? Lu Qing asked casually. Zhang Jingye answered with a smile. No, we planned to go downtown to buy some local specialties this afternoon. But we met Guoqing and her roommates, so we went to the bar and had dinner. Not bad. Lu Qing joked. Are you sure? Guoqing and Zhuang Xiaojun? Don't mention it. Zhuang Xiaojun has accepted that suitor. Zhao Chong sighed. We are still 1 step behind. Old Qiu laughed. Chong, you have been sighing along the way. Don't look like you are heartbroken. You haven't fallen in love yet. Don't hurt Chong. I'm afraid he can't take it. Zhang Jingye also joked. It was a sad topic that a beautiful girl in the get-together dormitory had a boyfriend. But it had nothing to do with sadness. Zhao Chong pushed up his black-rimmed glasses. You guys only know about love. I've been working hard to improve my knowledge level recently. What knowledge level? You've been smiling weirdly when you look at the computer or play on your phone. Lu Qing interrupted. Zhao Chong smiled. I'll tell you later. Then he took his clothes and went to the bathroom to take a shower. The other 3 looked at each other, feeling that Chong had been hit and led astray. Early the next morning, Lu Qing appeared by the lake again. He trained his endurance and finished several still stances and 24 blizzard strikes. Master, what are your plans for the holidays? If not, I'll book a ticket to go home. Lu Qing asked Gizershur, who was leisurely sitting beside him. Gizershur said, Good. You always tell me that you don't know how good you are, because you don't have any actual combat experience. I've asked someone to get an invitation to a new martial arts competition. Go and try it out and see what rank you can get. An invitation to a martial arts competition? A martial arts competition? Lu Qing was stunned, and his expression was blank. I'm going to take part in a martial arts competition? What rank can I get? He took the invitation and flipped it open, only to see the words written neatly in block letters in black ink. Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament. P.S. There is a chapter in the early morning. Please recommend it. Chapter 33. Warrior Sage Jr. Phoenix Cup Challenge Tournament. All of a sudden, Lu Qing was a little excited, a little scared, and a little eager to try. Master, what kind of tournament is this? He took a deep breath and asked. Gizershur waved his hand and said, How would I know? I just asked someone for one. You can search for it on the internet. In today's society, you can find anything on the internet. TSK. As he spoke, he left the lake with his hands behind his back. What a carefree master. Lu Qing complained silently. He flipped the invitation over and over again, and found his name and invitation number in the corner. He couldn't wait to take out his phone and start searching on the spot. Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament. He typed in the name, and soon got several pages of search results. The first one was an introduction to the official website, and the second one was a link to the Longhu Club forum he was familiar with. Lu Qing hesitated and clicked on the second link. It was a post from yesterday from one of the forum members he was familiar with. Road to the Arena, who liked to show off and brag, posted a picture with a red gilded invitation card, exactly the same as the one in his hand, but the number and name were deliberately blurred out. Sigh. I realized that the martial arts soul in my heart hasn't been completely buried yet. After being sent this invitation, I actually feel restless and want to participate. Road to the Arena added a sentence to the picture with a deliberately vicissitude tone. Invincible Punch, a martial arts school student who was quite popular on the forum, replied. Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament. Master Road, what kind of tournament is this? Road to the Arena replied with a laughing emoji. A new tournament organized by the richest man in our province. It will be held in Yinling City, and will take 5 years to make it into the top 10 challenge tournaments. This year is the first one, so there is no experience in all aspects. The prize money, scale, and level of fighters are set at a lower level, and there is no publicity. It's normal that you don't know about it. So it's a new challenge tournament for practice. Lu Qing had a preliminary understanding of the tournament he was about to participate in. Master Road posted the invitation card, so he must be planning to participate. A female ID Light Sea Blue, who was more active and popular in the forum, said with a dazed panda emoji. Road to the Arena replied with a funny emoji. I can't quit, but I've been out of practice for a long time, so I probably won't be able to enter the top 16. I'm ashamed to be a professional 9th pin fighter. Damn, what a coincidence. Just randomly participating in a challenge tournament and meeting an acquaintance. Lu Qing didn't reply and just watched quietly. With his amateur level, it was better not to expose himself, lest he become a laughingstock. He just silently watched the former professional 9th pin act tough. What's so special about the final 16? Behind the message Road to the Arena, the little girl wonton seller sent a head-scratching emoji. Road to the Arena explained, this Warrior Sage Challenge tournament doesn't limit the level of fighters and the number of applicants, so it's based on the level of the prize money. Those who enter the top 16 will get 5,000 yuan. Those who enter the top 8 will get another 10,000 yuan. If they win and enter the top 4, they will get another 20,000 yuan. If they enter the final round, they will get another 40,000 yuan. If they become the champion, they will get another 80,000 yuan. In other words, the champion will get a total of 155,000 yuan, and the runner-up will get 75,000 yuan. For amateurs, it's quite generous. But for professional fighters, it's probably not that far away. Some 9th pin fighters who happen to be free will participate in the tournament, and 1 or 2 8th pin fighters, who are in need of money, will join in the fun. So the level of the tournament is set. As for the scale of the tournament, only the top 16 will get the prize money. Amateurs won't come all the way here. Only those in the city will sign up with the mentality of giving it a try. Reading these 2 paragraphs, Lu Qing almost took a deep breath. This was a much higher level competition than he had expected. He thought it was a tournament for amateurs. Who knew that there would be so many professional 9th pin fighters, and even 8th pin fighters? And 8th pin fighters meant that there was a 90% chance that they would be masters of Danchi State. As for amateur 1st, 2nd, and 3rd pin fighters, there must be more than enough. Is Master deliberately letting me have a good look? Or is it like what he said? He doesn't even know what this invitation is. Lu Qing was deep in thought. Fortunately, he didn't have much expectation. He had only been practicing martial arts for 3 months, so he didn't have much expectation. At most, he felt that he should be stronger than an amateur 8th pin or 9th pin fighter. If he kept improving, he could finish his apprenticeship in less than a year. Forget it. Anyway, I'm going to accumulate actual combat experience. I hope to fight a few more rounds. Maybe I'll be so lucky that I can make it all the way to the top 16? Lu Qing thought optimistically. He moved his eyes down and continued to read the post Road to the Arena. Pretty high level. I thought you could make it to the top 4 in the little arena. Wonton seller liked to add the word little in front of everyone's name, regardless of their actual age. She wanted to pull them to her level. Road to the Arena sent a smoking emoji. I can't. A few years ago, I was confident that I could make it to the top 4. Now I'm lucky enough to make it to the top 16. I don't expect to make it to the top 8. When my master who taught me martial arts gave me the invitation, he felt it was a pity that I didn't make it. No matter what, Master Road, you're still the #1 master in our forum. Beautiful World comforted him. Pig Riding Knight, the moderator of the forum, also said, remember to live stream and show us your style. Okay, try not to lose face for our forum. Road to the Arena sent an emoji of pushing up glasses with sharp eyes. Invincible Punch, a student of martial arts school, said, Master Road, I'm quite close to Yenling. When will the tournament start? I want to give it a try during the holidays. At least I can gain some actual combat experience. Sure, we can meet face to face. 3 to 5 bottles. Road to the Arena replied. But you have to hurry up. Registration ends at 8 p.m. tonight. The tournament will start at 9 a.m. the day after tomorrow. There will be 4 to 5 rounds of elimination. Then there will be 8 groups of 4. The top 2 of each group will enter the top 16. Okay. I'll go buy a ticket after registration. The train will arrive in an hour. Invincible Punch replied. He failed in the October ranking event and failed to advance to professional 9th pin. He desperately needed more actual combat experience. Above the sky, the girl also cheered. You have to remember to live stream. Dragon King and others are away for the new year. It's so boring. Lu Chung was amused by their interaction. Well, I can't believe I met 2 netizens in a regional competition. What the hell is this? He thought. But with so many fighters signing up, it's impossible to meet them. After understanding the general situation of the Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament, Lu Qing exited the post and went to the official website to confirm all the details. The tournament would start tomorrow. The post was made yesterday. It would last for 10 days. If he made it all the way to the end, on average, there would be 1 tournament per day. Any fighter who wanted to get the prize money would try to win as soon as possible in the initial elimination and group matches to save energy and avoid injury. Travel expenses, accommodation expenses, food expenses. Lu Qing silently calculated the expenses. Damn it, I'm going to have to empty my pockets. That was reserved for when he asked Yenjika out. Apart from the New Year's money, the only cash he could use now was the 500 renminbi home fare and the 500 renminbi food he saved before. But there were too many things to spend money on. The train to Yenling, the train from Yenling to home, 10 days. I'm sure I won't make it to the finals. Top 16 is out of the question. Maybe I'll be lucky in the group matches. That means I'll have to stay in the hotel for 7 days and eat every day. I can't even afford to stay in a small hotel. After thinking for a while, Lu Qing called home and told his mother that he had something to do at school and would be back in 7 or 8 days. Fortunately, he had told his mother that he had to wait for Yenjika before. After winning the extra 500 renminbi, he felt a little relieved and bought the tickets with the money he had already saved in the payment app on his mobile phone. Because it wasn't the Spring Festival yet, the tickets to Yenling were easy to buy. To save money, he bought a ticket past 9 p.m. and arrived at Yenling after 12 a.m. He was lucky enough to have a few tickets to go home from Yenling, so he didn't have to fight for them on the app. It's already very late today. I'll stay in a hotel near the bus station and go to the competition venue with my luggage the next day. If I lose, I'll go back to the bus station and see if I can change my ticket. If I win, I'll find another small hotel nearby. Lu Qing made a plan. If he could book the tickets online, he would book them first, so that he wouldn't be stunned when they were all full. After doing all this, Lu Qing logged into QQ and wanted to share his plan with Yenjika. When he was about to send the message, he suddenly stopped and muttered in his heart. It doesn't seem right to tell Yenjika about the challenge tournament first. If I'm eliminated in the first round and she asks about it, how embarrassing would that be? I'd better tell her after the result is good and share it with her. But if I share it with her later, Will she think that I'm a person who likes to hide things? How could I pretend that nothing happened and not mention it at all? After thinking about it, Lu Cheng decided to be honest and sent a laughing emoji. Since you're not going back to Xioshan, I found a challenge tournament to increase my actual combat experience. At 9 o'clock in the morning, Yenjuka replied with an envious emoji with shining eyes. What challenge tournament? Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament in Yinling City. Geyser mentioned it casually, so I thought that since I have nothing to do, I might as well sign up for it. The tournament starts tomorrow, and my train tonight. Lu Cheng gave a brief introduction of the challenge tournament. My flight is tomorrow morning, so I can't make it. You have to do your best and don't disgrace our Songqing University Martial Arts Club. I'll be watching you. Yenjuka sent an emoji with bright eyes. They chatted until 5 p.m. Lu Cheng quickly put his change of clothes, several sets of training clothes, other sundries, and his laptop into his big backpack. Most of the rest were locked in the cupboard, so he didn't have to worry about not having enough clothes to wear at home. Carrying the big backpack, he felt much lighter than before. He first said goodbye to Zhao Chong and the others, and then knocked on the door of the small dormitory next door. Talker, my train is tonight. What about you? He asked Kai Zongming. Kai Zongming smiled and said, I don't know yet. My girlfriend will go to Songqing first, and play for a few days before going back. Looking at his smile of a winner in life, Lu Cheng clenched his fist and punched him on the shoulder. See you next year. See you next year. Kai Zongming waved his hand. Without the melancholy of parting, Lu Cheng hurried to the school bus station. There were already many people waiting there, and it took him more than half an hour to get his turn. After putting down his luggage and sitting in his seat, the campus scenery passed by quickly. Weishui Lake was covered with a thin layer of ice, the teaching building shrouded in the dreary dusk, and the commercial street with few pedestrians passed by quickly in Lu Cheng's eyes. At this time, he felt a little emotional that he was going to leave this place for a month. In the train, Yenjuka went to bed at 11 p.m. because she had to get up early tomorrow to fly to Jiangnan province. Lu Cheng took a nap and woke up abruptly, only to find that they would arrive at Yinling in 10 minutes. Outside the window, the night was dark, and the strange lights were faintly receding. Lu Cheng stared at the scene in a daze, with some melancholy and fear rising in his heart. He was going to a completely strange city. The scenery he was going to see was completely strange. In a strange city, he didn't really know anyone, and he couldn't feel the familiar warmth in the strange scenery. The train stopped, and he followed the crowd out of the station. A cold wind blew clear and cold. Lu Cheng shivered and declined the offers of black buses and small hotels. Carrying a big backpack, he looked at the GPS on his mobile phone and walked on a wide road to a nearby hotel. The road was quiet, and there were few people in sight. There were trees on both sides of the road, like monsters with their mouths wide open in the night. It was not much different from other cities, but the strange smell was still blowing in his face. Accompanied by the darkness, Lu Cheng felt like a stranger in a strange land. In the past, when he went to a strange place, he was not alone. He was either accompanied by his parents, relatives, master, or classmates in the martial arts club. But this time, he was traveling alone in a strange land, for the dream of martial arts, for the new stage of his life. Thinking of his dream, thinking of Yenjuka, thinking of the challenge tournament, Lu Cheng took a deep breath. In the dark night, in a strange city, in an empty space, in a slow jog, softly humming an old song. I know my future is not a dream. I've lived every minute seriously. My future is not a dream. The night was as cold as water. The song was low, and the figure was fading away. P.S. I want to be on the homepage on Monday. Chapter 34. Lu Cheng booked a small hotel near the train station. It was converted from a regular hostel and operated like a youth hostel. The price was based on the bed instead of the room, so it was relatively cheaper. It was perfect for students like him who needed to save money. Of course, this small hotel was a little more upscale than a youth hostel. According to the comments on the internet, it was quieter, more formal, and less complicated. After 10 minutes of jogging to the hotel, Lu Ching registered his ID card and was led into the room by a waiter. It was a standard room with 2 beds. The inner bed was already occupied and was snoring loudly. Surprisingly, the sound of the door opening didn't wake him up. Lu Ching frowned, but when he thought of the small hotel that only cost a few dozen yuan, he relaxed again. You get what you pay for. I can't ask for too much. After the waiter left, he locked his backpack and valuables in the cupboard of his bed and quietly went to the bathroom. After brushing his teeth, taking a shower and squatting, he took off his jacket and jeans and lay on the bed. The bed wasn't soft, but it was much better than the seat on the train. It comforted Lu Cheng's body from every contact point, and slowly let his emotions drift away. A strange city, a strange place, and a strange bed. Everything was so strange, as if it had nothing to do with his past life. The sound of snoring, the sound of wind whistling outside the window, and the roar of the engine from time to time, made Lu Cheng feel a little uneasy, but also a little isolated from the world, as if he was the only one awake in the world, still enjoying the tranquility and strangeness of the night. Collecting his thoughts, he told himself to go to sleep as soon as possible. There was a competition tomorrow, so he had to be in the best state of mind. He sent a message to Yenjika, saying that he had arrived safely in Yinling. Then he charged his phone and put it under his inner pillow, in case it was stolen. Then, to resist the snoring, he closed his spirit and qi and entered meditation, emptying his mind as the bright nebula rotated slowly. Unknowingly, he fell into a deep sleep. But when it was 5:30, his biological clock urged him to wake up naturally. Instead of staying in bed, he nimbly turned over and put on his jacket. After brushing his teeth, washing his face with cold water, and combing his hair, he felt refreshed again. He opened the cabinet, took out his things, rummaged through his backpack, and changed into the navy blue Longhu Club martial arts suit. Then, he carried his luggage and tiptoed out of the room. Under the surprised gaze of the receptionist on duty, he completed the procedures and walked out of the door. It was still dark at 5 in the morning in winter. None of the morning stalls were open. Only a few cleaners were sweeping the snow nearby. Fortunately, it was a big city. There were street lights everywhere, illuminating the road in the bone-chilling wind. He took out his phone, opened the map, and searched for the match venue and the route to his current location. It's only a little over 20 kilometers. Isn't that far? Let's just run over there. It'll be a good morning exercise and a warm-up for the competition. Slightly more than 20 kilometers? Is it very far? The cleaner beside him raised his head and looked at Lu Ching blankly, suspecting that he had misheard. Even if he wanted to take a taxi, it wasn't near, right? After stretching his muscles, Lu Ching carried his backpack and started running. Braving the cold wind and darkness, he ran until dawn. The sun rose from the east, and the traffic on the street gradually increased. Before 7 o'clock, he arrived at the competition venue, the Yinling Martial Arts Gym. He stood still nearby, practiced his fighting style, and completed his warm-up. After that, he found a breakfast shop, ate 5 big meat buns in one go, and drank a cup of soy milk with satisfaction. At this time his phone beeped. Yenjika replied, "Lazy Ching, get up. Be careful not to be late for the match." In a strange place, a familiar chat. Lu Ching unconsciously showed a smile on his face. "Handsome people get up early. I'm already near the match venue. You really worked hard for the match. You went to bed so late last night." Yenjika sent a patting head emoji. "Are you in good spirits? If your match is in the afternoon, you can find a place to sleep first." "I'm nervous and excited. I'm in good spirits." Lu Ching truthfully described his state and sent a silly smile emoji. Yenjika didn't mention the topic of Lu Cheng's good performance again. They chatted until they arrived at the airport, boarded the plane, and turned off the communication device. Lu Cheng put away his phone, carried his backpack, and went to the reception of the committee. After a few minutes of waiting in line, he handed the invitation to the receptionist. The pretty girl with light-colored glasses looked at the invitation, entered the serial number into the computer, and checked the information. Please give me your ID card for verification. She looked at Lu Cheng with a little curiosity. No rank, full of the air of a student. How did he get the invitation? Lu Cheng took out his ID card and handed it to the receptionist. The receptionist checked it carefully several times before returning it, and gave him a black round card half the size of a palm. There was a phoenix embossing on it, and the number 656 was written on it. This is your number and entry certificate. After you enter the arena, go to each big screen and look at the matchup table. Find your opponent, the arena you're in, and the number of matches you're in. Go to the side and wait in advance. If you want more detailed information about your opponent, you can go to the service desk to get it. The delicate and pretty girl said seriously. Thank you. Lu Cheng thanked her with a smile. Sorry, one more question. Is there a place to leave my luggage? Yes, please go to the reception desk. The receptionist gave a standard smile. The Yanling Martial Arts Stadium was bigger than Lu Cheng had imagined. There were at least 20 to 30,000 spectators. Outside the huge ring in the center of the stadium, there were 9 simple rings separated by white lines around the practice field. In the first few rounds, when there were many fighters, the matches would be held in all 10 rings at the same time. After one match, the most popular one would be in the center ring. When it came to the group matches, the simple rings would be removed, and only the central ring would be held. There were many big screens in the stadium for the spectators to use, or to replay the highlights. At this time, the pages were turning to show the list of matches. Lu Cheng moved to one of the screens and looked for his name according to the number. After a few pages, he finally saw his name. Ring 7, Round 5. Number 656 Lu Cheng, 18 years old, no rank. Number 237 Lu Yinglong, 22 years old, amateur 4th pin. Damn, I'm going to meet an amateur 4th pin master as soon as I come. Lu Cheng felt wronged. Although it was much better than facing a professional 9th pin, or even professional 8th pin master directly, it was already a bad draw for him. He was quite confident to face an amateur 7th, 8th or 9th pin master. Should I change my draw today and go home? Forget it. I'll just increase my actual combat experience. In front of another screen, a few men were also looking at the list of matches. 18 years old, no rank. Big brother, you're so lucky. A bearded man wrapped in a dark down jacket said to the leader with a smile. The leader was a young man of average height. His eyebrows were thick but messy, and there were traces of acne on his forehead. The most eye-catching thing about him was his arms, which were much longer than normal people's arms, almost reaching his knees. Facing the cheers of his junior brothers and sisters, Lu Yinglong calmly shook his head. It's not worth being happy about now. Why is it not worth being happy about? Big brother, isn't this the best opponent you've ever had? 18 years old, no rank. A young girl in a martial arts suit was puzzled. Lu Yinglong took a deep breath. There's another kind of people who are 18 years old and have no rank. Those direct disciples of big sex and martial arts competitions don't bother to participate in amateur ranking events. They just want to finish their apprenticeship and make a career out of it. That's true. The bearded man at the beginning showed some concern. Big brother, let's go and ask for detailed information. Since there were 10 matches going on at the same time, the audience naturally couldn't enjoy all of them. They would make corresponding selections based on the list of matches, whether they were interested or not, and whether the time was right. When they had a general idea, they would go to the service desk to ask for detailed information of the players and make the final selection. As for the fighters and matches that were valued, the service desk would also recommend them to the audience. Carrying a big backpack, Lu Cheng lined up in front of one of the service desks. While waiting, he took out his phone and opened a web page, wanting to know how Road to the Arena and Invincible Punch were doing in the draw. In the Longhu Club forum, the live broadcast post of Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament had been set up. Road to the Arena wrote with a funny emoji. Good luck, I got a guy of amateur 7th pin. Looks like I'm blessed by the goddess of luck in this challenge tournament. Little Punch is good too. His opponent is of amateur 5th pin. The gap between them is quite obvious. Then you have to win glory for the forum. If you don't make it to the group stage, bring your little brother to see me. Okamoto's fan replied. Beautiful world. And other female IDs also cheered for him and asked, Road to the arena? And Invincible Punch to take pictures. We'll do it when we win this match. Road to the arena, replied with a little pride. Lu Qing grinned, envious of their good luck. In front of the service desk, he asked for the information of his opponent and himself. He put away his backpack and walked to ring 7 while reading. Lu Yinglong, male, 22 years old, the eldest disciple of Baiyuan Martial Arts School in Yanling. He started practicing martial arts at the age of 20 and is now of amateur 4th pin, good at full arm boxing. The more Lu Qing read, the more guilty he felt. On the other side, Lu Yinglong also got the information. He glanced at it and laughed. Luckily, he didn't meet that kind of monster. He's just a rookie who came here to increase his actual combat experience. I guess he's preparing for the ranking event next year. The mustached man in the dark down jacket glanced at it. A student of Songqing University? Why did he come all the way here? Maybe his home is nearby. Lu Yinglong didn't care. Your opponents are all strong. You have to cheer up and deal with them carefully. When Lu Qing found ring 7, the match was about to start. The two fighters in the first match stepped into the ring, but the audience was sparse. Most of them were looking at the central ring. Maybe I can learn something from watching the match at such a close distance. He comforted himself. At 9 o'clock sharp the bell rang. Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge Tournament officially began. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.